question? Are you fucking kidding me? It's the first question.
To run for president, Vice President Trump.
Oh,
Fact is Vice President Trump. And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's a big President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we gotta worry about it. Vice President Trump. Vice President Trump.
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, fantastic afternoon, fantastic pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker. This is Austin. I broadcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles, folks. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MVs are having a fantastic one. Because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Sunday. It's Sunday fun day, folks. It's Sunday. It is August 18th, 2024, and it's a beautiful Sunday. It's a fantastic Sunday, and I am right on time at 11:17 a.m. And let me tell you, folks, I'm right on time, and I got a lot going on, and this is going to be a short but sweet, but absolutely an absolute slammer of a broadcast for this wonderful, beautiful Sunday. I hope everyone is buckled in. This is the part of the broadcast where I tell you a little bit about my personal news. Obviously, I'm back. I'm back from my one-day hiatus. I'm alive, and there's going to be a big meal tomorrow, in the form of content. Just a big old content meal. But before then, I had to, given that I took a day off, I had to at least do one day, even if it's like a short stream today, before I fly out to Chicago. I will be updating you guys on it. But anyway, as far as personal news goes, this is the part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news, about what's going on in the world of Hassan Ivan Piker, and let me tell you, a lot has happened. So as you may or may not know, on Friday night I ended the broadcast, another short stream, 8-hour stream, half day. You already know what it is. This guy's basically quiet quitting. Okay. But I had my personal trainer's bachelor party this weekend. And now, normally, if you watch The Hangover or other movies like that, you have an expectation of what like a bachelor party is supposed to look like. Okay? You have an expectation that like the bachelor party is like crazy, rambunctious, wild. Now, let me tell you, this bachelor party was none of those things, okay? Literally none of those things whatsoever, okay? What the fuck is this? Auntie Piker, you need to dial it back. Jesus, Lord mercy. Okay. I look a little bit tired. Yeah, that's because we worked out a lot. My personal trainer's bachelor party is attendance from a different tax bracket, Lamau. Well, I mean, he also happens to be my friend. Like, that's why I went to his bachelor party. Like, it's a little bit different. I don't think most like wealthy people that have personal trainers are attending their personal trainer's bachelor parties. Anyway, I know it's a hard concept for a lot of people to grasp, but he also is my friend. So anyway, the reason why I bring up his profession, so say friend. No, the reason why I bring up his profession is because it ties back into the bachelor party itself. So Friday I end the broadcast. Mythological Ali picks me up. As you guys know, they also trained Ali for his boxing events and stuff like that. They were his PTs as well. And he was also in attendance. He was also participating. He was the youngest guy there. The rest of the crew was like my age or older. Anyway, so the demon of Dearborn himself. So He picks me up. We drive all the way up to Joshua Tree. It's like a 3-hour drive on the way there. Much easier drive on the way back. Lots of traffic on a Friday afternoon. So we get up there. Immediately, we are greeted with steaks. Okay. Immediately, we are greeted with a steak dinner. Okay. Lots of steaks. I'm like, oh, here we go. It sets the tone for the entire weekend. Snacks galore. Okay. Every different kind of protein snack, all different kinds of protein snackies. Okay. Mostly just like heavy prote all the way. So what ends up happening is, what the fuck? Why isn't this working? We go to bed early that night. Not a lot of drinking, obviously. What the fuck? Why isn't this working? Oh, there it is. We're in Joshua Tree. It's like 2 different houses. It's like a compound. Joshua Tree, the Dollar Tree version of Sedona, Arizona. I mean, at least it's not in Arizona, so whatever. So we took down some steaks. We ate some steaks. We woke up early as fuck the next morning. And some of you guys already know what we did because I posted a TikTok of it. Like the itinerary was crazy. Okay? The itinerary was absolute madness. And we started out with a cold plunge. I've never done one before. Okay? I have never done a cold plunge before. But this was basically like the entire weekend basically turned into one of those like men retreats, like those male retreats, like a alpha dog boot camp, but not lame. You know what I mean? Because everyone's friends and everyone likes working out. So basically this is how the weekend started. Early in the morning.
I don't want that guy in there.
We woke up. First thing we did, get in a cold plunge. I've never done one before. Everyone had to do it. I was not very excited. As you could tell, I wasn't even ready for it because I was in my underwear. I didn't even bring my fucking, I didn't even bring my goddamn, like, bathing suit.
Bro, I've never, are you filming? I've never done a fucking cold plunge. Oh, no, fuck, no. Come on, bro, come on.
Come on, get in there.
Okay.
Just go, get your head under.
Okay.
Get that
Oh, he's cold as fuck. He's cold as fuck, bro. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My balls, my
Just
balls.
go, just go.
Drop the ball.
Get your head this way. Slide in.
Arms in.
Get your head in the
Head
water.
in.
Stay in.
Head in.
Head in.
Head in.
Get under.
Okay. No more water.
Breathe. Your nose. Just hang your nose.
Oh, that hurts.
Let me tell you something, okay? The science is out on the benefits of cold plunges. It's like, in my opinion, one of those fucking fads. It's like one of those fitness fad things, okay? And personally, for me, every single time I talk to a person who's like knowledgeable about why this is a good thing, they almost always say it's because it's hard. It's because it's a hard thing to do. Okay. And it's like, it's more so about testing your limits. And it is a hard thing to do. It sucks. It hurts. Like it hurts your legs and your toes are fucking throbbing. You can have a heart attack doing that shit. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, Jesus Christ, it wasn't like heart attack bad, but you do feel good afterwards. You feel great afterwards. But like overall, I would say it was a 4 out of 10 experience. Here, let's finish this off. Okay.
So cold.
It kind of hurts the feet.
Oh,
Breathe your nose. 30 more seconds.
I think
That's
I
my
dumped
trainer that's
after
getting married.
water.
There's a fair amount of
This morning I told Austin this would have been his dream. It's like 12 straight dudes, every single one of them brolic, every single one of them jacked out of their minds, doing the most homoerotic shit all weekend. It's like it's literally just doing fitness, wrestling, just like Austin would have loved this experience overall.
placement.
Maybe I shouldn't have gone second.
A bigger tub.
Oh, it's boiling hot. I think all
The water is so hot though. Like the water inside the tub is obviously very cold because we dumped a shitload of ice cubes in it. But the water the new water that's coming into the tub at this point is like boiling hot because it's in the middle of the fucking desert. So there, it's like impossible for it to be, it's impossible for it to be like a, you know, continue being cold, but it doesn't matter.
The water is boiling hot. There's no cold water, bro. Yeah, no, that water is hot.
Yeah, everything probably feels hot right now.
Hey, been in there for a minute. It's really good.
Okay, how do we get it?
How do we get you out?
How do we get out? I think.
Wash your hands real quick and then get out.
Oh no! Ah!
Right on the nut.
That's Mason. You guys might remember him. He's a friend of the show. He's been on the stream before.
I don't even know if I can. No, wait.
The thing is, like, I can't even dump my head in at this point because I've done. There's too much water displacement, but I did that anyway. Water with a little ice in it. No, it wasn't a little bit of ice, chat. It was all ice. It's just it melts instantly. Okay, it literally melted instantly because it's 100 degrees out. Okay. So yeah, did your pee-pee hurt? It did. My pee-pee. You're too big for the tub, my guy. I know. Anyway, I posted it and the comments were as expected. Y'all seen Saltburn. Wow, I can't believe this video is an hour long. I had plans today. One sip of that bath water and I'm set for life. Anyone know where this drains to? I'm on prep. Oh, to be an ice cube right now. My girl is on this app, bro. This is a major news event. This took up my entire 15-minute break at work. Try using your fitness videos as background for motivation videos. Wait, what?
When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, it's just what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go,
That's
the amount
crazy.
of pain involved, the amount of mental pain, of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. There's going to be more times you do something that you don't want to do than you are going to want to do it. That's your new norm. And then once you do this over and over and over again, it
Their Goggins posting with my fitness videos. That's awesome.
becomes like breathing.
done
I
it.
don't want to live this
It's
life.
official. We've done it. You are everywhere on the For You page right now. I mean, everywhere. That's what I've been hearing that. Who's going to carry the boats
But
ass
to get
post,
to the
dude?
other side of this, I have to.
Fresh start January 1st. If you keep grinding from January 1st to December 31st of this year, I'm telling you right now, something. I don't know how big the something will be.
It's so funny because I'm so much fatter in all of these videos. It's kind of crazy to see now.
But something is bound to happen. It only takes 1 year for somebody to go. I'm not gonna lie. It only takes 1 year for somebody to go. I know some y'all need motivation. Let me tell y'all right now. Get up off your ass and go crazy.
Don't know what she's made of.
That's that people don't talk about. That's crazy that's like a
I
thing
don't want
that's
that guy
happening.
in there.
Anyway, but yeah, that shirt looks like it would give a +1 in electrochemistry in Disco Elysium. So, yeah, that's how the day started. The day started with with the ice bath, like a ice, what do you call it? With like a cold plunge. Then afterwards, after the cold plunge, we did a full grid workout, 12 stations, 45 seconds on, high intensity, 15 seconds off. We did it 3 times. Your muscle volume was much bigger though. No, it wasn't. You're absolutely wrong. I'm literally stronger than I was in those videos. That part I did not actually tape. So I thought you took a day off for the Ludwig games. No, I took a day off for the bachelor party, and then also I couldn't do the Ludwig games today either because I'm flying out. But yeah, but as expected, Auntie Piker came in clutch with this insanity. The fuck, yo, Auntie Piker, you need to stop. You need to stop. Do you feel the need to be stronger? Yes, I do. Especially around these other dudes, they're so fucking brolic. There was a lot of miring going on. There was a lot of brolic men activity happening. Okay. In any case, we did this. We did the grid afterwards. We had some high pro breakfast burritos. Okay. Oh my God, Auntie Piker went nuts. Everyone log out. I need some privacy. Is he insane? I don't even want to know what that last one is. Okay, never mind. That last one is it's scientific, but I don't know if I can play that. You know what I mean? Never free scroll anti-piker. I know. All right. So in any case, God damn, dude, that's just an erect penis. Do you enjoy being objectified? Yeah, I do. I'm at the drive-thru grabbing a coffee and my barista just asked if I was listening to you. Hell yeah. Okay. So after that, we had some breakfast burritos, high prote. You already know what it is. And then after the breakfast burritos, we just like went back, chilled for a little bit, and then we played pickleball. I've never played pickleball before. It's kind of fun. I get it. We had like a Olympics. We set up by team. Set up the bash party half and half by teams. We played pickleball. We wrestled, foosball, all this shit, and I've hired about 10 to 20 people to walk at the DNC to check in occasionally and remind you that MJ's the GOAT. Enjoy Chicago. Yeah, okay, Unc. We're done with the 90s. But yeah, basically the entire weekend was just like spent doing. The entire weekend was spent working out, doing physical shit, eating a lot of protein, and that's it. That's literally it. There's nothing else that I did. There was like a sushi chef that they hired.
Bro, I've never.
There was a sushi chef that they hired. The dude actually did a phenomenal job. No drinking, no strippers, no nothing. So the lamest bachelor party ever? No, it was awesome. I loved it. I personally loved it. It was great. Cause like the thing is, I'm not trying to drink. I hate it. It's not worth it for me. If I drink even a little bit, like it fucks me up for an extended period of time. So for me, it's like, I'm not doing that. Not everyone's into that stuff anymore. Yeah. Short stream prepping for DNC light news cycle. Tomorrow be live from the Democratic National Commission. Get in now. Okay, let's blast off and let's get started. I always cap at 2 drinks. I mean, yeah, but then it's like kind of boring. This tweet about you is so funny. Just don't scroll down. What the fuck? If given the chance, 20 Assam Pikers would not have the strength to tear off my tongue from your armpits. What does that even mean? Okay. Anyway, we blasted off. Give us a public transit review in Chicago. Maybe. Were you not invited to the FaZe Diddy party yesterday? Bro, I wasn't here. You think I wouldn't have gone? You think I would? I would have fucking absolutely been invited to the FaZe party. I'm a FaZe clan for life. What the fuck do you mean? Like, don't even fucking test my loyalty. I fucking FaZe the fuck up. Have any Democrats approached you about interviews? I know you said yes to one already. Yeah, a bunch of them have approached me about interviews. We haven't really figured it out though, but we'll figure it out in real time. We'll do it live. Okay. Hasanabi X net. What, like net spend? What? New Republicans are weird thing carrying fake JD Vance semen samples? What? No. Congress people want to schedule. They aren't Twitch streamers. Yeah, well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? That's crazy, dude. MAGA is actually, bro, I feel like they're doing it to bait people at this point. They're doing it to be like, how weird can we get? Like, maybe their goal is to be so unbelievably weird that people don't believe that they're like actually for real. You know what I mean? Because there's no shot. Anyway, here we blast it off. Let the people know I'm live. I'm alive. Are they really all going to be on stream? Yeah, this is my schedule. Yeah, Monday for the people, President Biden, Dr. Joe Biden, Secretary Clinton, Chicago Mayor Johnson. Tuesday, bold vision for America's future, President Obama, Second Gentleman Emhoff, Illinois Governor Pritzker. Yeah, they're all coming on my stream. Just kidding. Wednesday, a fight for our freedoms. Waltz is going to be doing the speech. Clinton and Speaker Emerita, Nancy Pelosi, my GOAT. And then Thursday, for our future Vice President Harris will accept the nomination. They're also going to be, there's going to be a bunch of influencers. Thank you, Themasius, for the playlist. There's going to be a bunch of influencers there, myself included. You already know. Sorry, since when do we call Nancy Emerita? She's Speaker Emerita. She's like that's like an honorary title because she's like the eternal speaker, dude. Put some respect on it. She's the reason why this is a DNC that is actually going to be one that is positive rather than one that is negative. They only will let Bernie speak when he gets fucked by the DNC law. Yeah. Emerida. What hours will you stream at the DNC? Great question. It's the exact same hours, okay? It is going to be the exact same hours that I stream. There is not going to be anything different in terms of like your consumption of my stream. My goal is obviously to make it virtually identical. Okay. So for example, what time is it in Chicago right now? I don't fucking know. What is it? What time is Chicago time? Is it like 2 hours ahead or some shit? It's 1:40. Okay. I might even start it like a little bit earlier. Okay. It's 1:40. It's the same as Austin. Yeah. Central time. So it's 2 hours ahead. So, what I will be planning on doing is like, I might actually start it at 10 potentially. I'll let you guys know though, but, I'm either going to start it at, like 10 a.m. PST, which would be, I guess, 12 p.m. Central time, or 11 as I normally do. It just entirely depends on what I have to do prep work in the morning. Cause like my goal is basically to get there tomorrow morning, early as fuck, with March, and figure out the credential process. My manager's going to be there. Austin's going to be there. March is going to be there. I have my own backpack as well. Obviously I have my backpack. I have my remote desktop set up. My goal is to set up my remote desktop setup smack dab in the fucking press in the press pool, in the press area. Okay. And then that's my base of operations. That's where I stream the entire day. Hopefully if I have the internet and everything like that, if there's reliable internet there, if we can do easy in and outs from the press area with the current credentials that we have. I'm a little worried about not being able to get, like, I'm a little worried about some of the issues that we are going to experience there, because it's like boomers are running the show and they don't fully understand the severity. If that's the case though, won't your background be super noisy? That's beautiful that you think that that's going to be an issue. You forget that this is the noise gate goat. Okay. The noise goat. I got the best noise gate in the fucking game. Yeah. I live with Marat. Okay. My brother uses power tools on a regular fucking basis in this house, and you don't hear a goddamn peep of it. So no, it won't be a problem. However, if I can't get access to the press area for some reason, or I can't set up my setup there for some reason, or if my setup doesn't have internet there for some reason, I need you to understand, I will just be streaming from my hotel. My goal is to literally do that and then stream from the hotel. And then after the hotel stream, I will just venture to the DNC with my IRL backpack. Okay. There might be some components. It will obviously still be like a DNC focused stream, but like, you have to remember, I'm still going to be doing my regular ass, like, I am still going to be doing my regular ass stream. So from your experience, okay, from where you're standing, the way that you consume, nothing is going to change. Okay. Nothing is going to change. I am also trying to do stuff outside of the convention as well, like Chicago related, if I have any time. But yeah, what the fuck is DNC? The Democratic National Convention. So it's basically a different backdrop with the occasional guest law. Yes. I mean, first of all, I need you guys to understand something. Many of you are probably oblivious to this, or many of you are unfamiliar with how the stream, what the audience expectations are for me. But the reality is, people don't like fucking change at all. I'm willing to bet that I would have a easier time streaming if I just stayed here and didn't go to the DNC at all. And I just streamed the DNC from here and basically just like live broadcasted ABC coverage NBC coverage and CNN coverage from the DNC. That's literally what my audience's expectations usually look like. Having said that, however, I do want to go and I do want to experience it, and I've never seen it, and I want you guys to see behind the scenes as well, like to experience it as well. I've, like I said, never been to Chi-City, Chicago, so I think that'll be fun as well. Any of the Chapo boys going to be on stream or just going to be doing their show off stream? Yeah. Wondering if the Palestine president will be able to get close to the DNC at all. There's going to be huge security screening around the United Center. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Is this your first DNC? Yes. Yes. Are you doing adrenochrome? Yes. Me and Biden, behind closed doors, secretly, are going to be spamming the baby spinal fluid. You already know. If you see me being more vibrant, being more excited, you know, like really riled up, that sort of thing, know that it is a direct consequence of the fresh baby spinal fluid that I will be consuming. You're going to get some BBQ and a foot massage at the weird ass restaurant? I don't know. Chicago deep dish pizza, that will happen. Kick video today? Probably not. I really want to watch it, but I don't know if I'll have time. Anyway, here's probably the most significant piece of news that I've been avoiding deliberately for the past like week that I have intentionally not wanted to cover because I hate seeing both of my goats fight like this. But here it is.
I Show Speed or Kai Cenat?
Kai Cenat.
Yeah, we think so.
Yeah.
He's always talking to girls on his stream.
Yeah.
He's always making jokes.
Wait, he knows Ice Spice. Who's the other one?
I Show Speed.
I Show Speed is just like, har, har.
Yeah.
What is that? He barks. He's like, har. What is that?
That is so brutally accurate. That was phenomenal.
He has no wrist. He has absolutely no wrist. Not.
Damn. Oh, hell no, dude. I you know, it's just crazy because like I love the Rizzler, you already know, and I love I Show Speed as well. It's just like I'm conflicted. I'm actually conflicted on this. This is a terrifying conflict of interest. Like I really did not know that it could get to this. I thought that there was like the Costco Boys coalition with I Show Speed. Like I thought that it was never going to come to this, and now it's like battle lines are being drawn, you know?
Not one like speck of wrist. Really?
All right, you ready for this one? Brian or I Show Speed or
yeah, it's just like, check my last message regarding Speed. Bro, it's right here, dog. It's right here. Don't worry. Don't worry. This woman was constantly annoying Speed at the event today, just nonstop self-pity whining to someone who doesn't care. It's not a coincidence. Every on-camera interaction you see with an Israeli and a normal person comes off as insufferable. Yeah. Yeah. She once again, I met her. It's Emily Austin. You know that's the girl I fucking that's the girl I dunked on. I've met her too on the Piers Morgan broadcast. Yeah, this is what I did.
The apartheid
so
regime.
What would you like to
allow
see
Palestinians
happen, Hassan?
Do you not understand the English language? Dissolve the apartheid regime.
You need everyone wants to criticize the IDF's response, but nobody wants to tell me what should Israel be doing to retaliate.
Read his messages. Read his last message. Yeah, read my message. I met her. It's Emily Austin. Yeah, read my message, bro. I did. I ran to the Emily Austin chick you dumpstered on Piers at FanaticsCon. She's the one who harassed Speed backstage about being a Zionist and is somehow even more annoying in person than online. She would not shut up for at least 20 minutes. Fascinating woman. Yeah, it's just like when someone, dude, when someone is like an unconditional dick rider of Israel, something happens to their consciousness where they just always feel the need to be the most annoying person on the planet. Like this is, it just captures their entire personality. It captures their entire personality. Everything is about like, no politics here. No politics here. Israel is number one. Israel is the best. Israel is the best. It's just like, no politics here. No politic.
October.
And then they just fucking chirp nonstop. And they are so incredibly, so unimaginably fucking annoying about it. Jacob Toft Anderson, the president of 100 Thieves, said this was an unfollow worthy tweet, Rod. Wait, what the fuck? Do they... The funniest thing is like talking to Rod and being like, wow, quite anti-Semitic and racist of you. It's like, bro is Jewish in New York. It's like arguably arguably, if you're a Jew in New York, you're the most Jewish. Like, you're more Jewish than being in Israel. Okay, I'm sorry, it's ridiculous. Like, people being like, "Wow, I can't believe how fucking I can't believe how anti-Semitic you are." Rod Breslau is a ridiculous fucking thing. Also, contrary to popular belief, it is anti-Semitic to assume that being annoying is a Jewish trait. Okay, this is fucking ridiculous.
7. Eradicate Hamas from preventing
What
another.
the fuck is happening? You're the one who's being anti-Semitic. You're the one who's being anti-Semitic. 100 Thieves president, who I've known for 10 to 15 years, unfollowed me on Twitter because of it. And then he later told me, "I forgot you were even Jewish, lol." That's crazy. That's crazy. New York Jews have more cultural connections to Judaism than most Israelis. Yeah, 100%, bro. Listen. Until I see something better than fucking the Israeli SNL in terms of comedy coming out of Israel, New York is on top 100%. Okay? Sorry. It's just fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I've seen the comedy that comes out of Israel, okay? No. I don't know if you saw Hamas rejects ceasefire proposal, citing additional demands by Netanyahu. Goddamn. Oh, man. Okay, we'll take a look at this in a little bit as well. Surely SNL is bottom of the barrel. Bro, SNL is bottom of the barrel until you see the Israeli version and you're like, oh my God, the barrel actually had a hole in it and there's a literal well underneath the barrel and we were not even scratching the surface of the bottom of the fucking barrel, okay? It's incredible. Bro, your cold brew containers keep getting more and more ridiculous. Yeah, I'm just old-timey potion guy. Counterpoint Seinfeld, excuse me, don't you ever fucking invoke Seinfeld as though it is an Israeli invention, okay? It was literally carried by Larry David, first of all, and Jerry Seinfeld has never been funny in his entire fucking life. That's number one. Number two, yeah, he's the one who's too busy fucking trying to cut promo for Israel, but like that was always a Larry David operation, okay? That was always a Larry David operation. House Dems told not to book hotels under their name because of Palestine protesters. That's awesome. House Democrats are being advised not to book hotels under their own names or engage with protesters if confronted. According to sources and docs obtained by Axios, one senior House Dem says law enforcement is telling members they expect violence. They expect violence? Oh, shut the fuck up. Anyway, my dude, The Daily Show is now the litmus for liberal. I live in Chicago. There's two main designated parks of the protest. Unit Park 3 blocks from the DNC and Park 578, 1 block from the DNC, as well as a protest march between the two. Nice. When they say expect violence, they mean like the Chicago Police Department is going to beat the shit out of like every anti-genocide protester who dare say things like our unconditional loyalty and endless billions of dollars to an apartheid regime doing genocide is bad, you know? But yeah, are you going to flick the bean? I'm going to lick the bean. But overall, like I said, I am excited to see what happens in terms of the DNC, but we'll figure it out. I think that it's going to be important to see like how they react, how they respond, like what they do in general in terms of like the Gaza situation, which is not fucking going out. Okay, it's not going away. Will protesters or police be the problem of the DNC? Groups range from climate activists to a pro-Palestinian organization banned in Israel and Germany. Arab Americans say law enforcement in Chicago has targeted them for years. Yeah, it's going to be fucking heated. I'll be there too. Also, one thing to consider, of course, is that the Chicago mayor...
Hi, good morning.
The Chicago mayor has called Israel genocidal. If you recall, he was one of the first to do so. And they literally had like a messaging thing, which JB Pritzker actually kind of came out against, which made me sad. But what are you going to do? Ahead of the DNC, where pro-Palestinian groups are expected to protest in the thousands, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson tells Mother Jones the war in Gaza is a genocide. What's happening right now is not only egregious, but also it is genocidal. So just remember that. Let's go, Brandon, baby. Yeah, Chicago called for a ceasefire in Gaza as one of the first major cities in the United States of America to do so. American Airlines have canceled flights to and from Israel until 2025. Wait, what the fuck? Oh shit, dude. Are you staying for all 4 days? Yes, I am. I will be. I mean, it's a major destination. It's kind of crazy that American Airlines just straight up fucking said no more flights to and from Israel. That's wild. Anyway, what else was I going to talk about? All right, we got the Jizz Cups. Are you going to be able to live stream from the DNC floor? Is it only press areas? I'm going to try to do all of it, chat. I'm going to try to do all of it. I'm going to try to be fucking all up and down. I'm going to try to be all up and down the floor everywhere, okay? Inside of the DNC, outside of the DNC, you already know. I am going to Hamas City, exactly. Remember, Chicago voted for Hamas. The most pro-Hamas city in the fucking nation. All right? Oh, this is a fire Trump line, by the way. I love this one.
Called it wrong. She's called it wrong now for about 8 years. But she said one thing that got me. She said Kamala has one big advantage. She's a very beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman.
Hi.
So I decided to go back and reread the
please.
clause. I'm not saying he's, but I say that I am much better looking than her. I think I'm much better, much better. I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
He's doing that shit again, where he's just being Delulu. I'm sorry, dude. You can't fucking say that. It's just like, it's like another one of those things that's like objectively untrue. Anyway. Meanwhile, while that's happening, Harris and Walsh are kicking off the bus tour rally in PA. They are literally going to be doing rallies while the DNC is going on, by the way. They are not stopping. They got 80 fucking days. They got like 79 days remaining. Let's take a look at...
We bonded almost immediately, but actually...
Do we have a link that has the fucking... do we have a link that has the captions? Is there a caption link? When did he start pronouncing her name right? I think he goes in and out. I think he's going in and out. Do we have a caption link or no? Let's try this one. Yep. Thank you, Themasius.
It's like, what's the deal? I've known you for 20 or 30 years.
Here's fucking Douglas M. Hoff.
You've never been a vice
I got a
presidential
pee-pee.
candidate before on stage.
Not only do I have to pee, but I also have to run the 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. If you no longer want to see those ads, you already know what to do, baby. All you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with Twitch Prime. You can get gifted a sub if you're lucky to use a 3-minute ad break now. Let's get started.
I said, dude, you made it. You got to cut out. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to the next Vice President of the United States, Tim Walz.
It is. Doug gets the bro hugs. He brings it. So, well, thank you, and it's true. And to Gwen and Doug both, all of you, none of us do this alone. We're all in this together. I think this is a room that knows this campaign will be won in rooms just like this all across the country. It'll be run with people sitting on the phone banks in there, dialing numbers, and people picking up the phone on a Sunday and having somebody say, do you have a minute to talk about the future of our country? That's a pretty big step. Pick up that phone and talk. But listen to these folks in here. People are doing it. They're doing it. And the thing I can tell you, what Kamala Harris has brought to this, for so many things, from experience as a prosecutor to an attorney general, to a United States senator, to a vice president, to the next president of the United States, there's that resume which is out without question. But the reason they're picking up the phone and the reason that they're standing 1,000 deep in 109-degree heat in Las Vegas is she's bringing out the joy in the hearts of Americans. She's bringing out the kindness that ties us together, the decency, the vision of a better tomorrow. And each of these volunteers and the people who put it on, they all said it. They said it is so much better to be for something rather than against something. To be for the future, not going back. That's what people know. And some of us who have less hair and are old enough, can remember when you could go to Thanksgiving, watch a Steelers game with your relatives, and not complain about politics the whole time. Not be on each other's neck. Because you shared a commitment to democracy, a commitment to personal freedom, a commitment to public education, a commitment to infrastructure.
A commitment to dudes rocking too.
We don't call each other names. We don't do it. And we don't use the least fortunate amongst us as punchlines for our jokes because they're our neighbors. They're our neighbors. And so you're getting an opportunity to see the best side of America. And for the young people here, they maybe haven't seen a campaign like this because of COVID, because of things that's happening. This is a chance to bring out that joy, turn the page, and look to the future. This idea of going forward. So, Doug is right. He told you. My kids were backstage in awe. He didn't tell you they were probably in awe because they could not believe that I got through that thing and through that speech. That was amazing to them. But I'll tell you what, they have felt part of this family because they can feel the decency radiating off these people. They can see the commitment. They know that children matter. They know that family matters. They know that individuals matter. And this leader knows that it's not any of government's business to be in your healthcare decisions. Those are your decisions. And this is a leader who celebrates love in all forms that it comes by, that we love each other. And for the young people, you hear somebody talking about this, we have the right to send our children to school to be free from being shot dead in their classrooms. That's what it is. And this as a nation can ensure clean water, clean air, and a bright future for our children. So I have to tell you, we got 79 days, and you'll hear me say this. Doug's going to correct me on this. I say, that's easy. We can sleep when we're dead. Doug said we can sleep on November 6th after this election is over, so you may be right. But look, coming into football country and being an old football coach, there's an old saying, you don't hope you're going to win. You prepare to win. And you give it the best you've got. And you know when that game's over, you want to know you left it all on the field. And that's all we're asking. Let's leave it all on the field. Let's get this thing done. Because when my grandkids and your grandkids asked you about this, because on November 6th, you were there, first time when you got to welcome Madam President of the United States. Come on here.
Keep coming back. I want to thank everybody. I want to start with Tim Walz. Isn't he fantastic? I like to call him Coach Walz. And,
You could tell when she says, "Isn't he fantastic?" She being so real. She's being so fucking real. Like, that's not fake. That's not fake enthusiasm.
I mean, you know, there's something, I don't know, my first grade teacher, Mrs.
Does she recognize that she's being outshined by Tim Walz? Who gives a shit? She wants to win, dude.
Anyone who decides to become a teacher,
This is like one of those few instances, as I've said, where like her being a generic Democrat and an empty vassal for whatever works. An empty vassal for whatever like will get her across the finish line is unironically a good thing. Most Democrats at the top of the ticket would have been worried about being outshined by the VP. Historically, that's the reason why they most people just like choose shitty VPs.
I want to just for a moment mention my friend Bob Casey. You have got to hand back to the United States Senate.
Vessel, not vassal. Sorry.
I was in the United States Senate and worked with Bob. I'm going to tell you something. You know, we would have these meetings where all of the Democratic senators would get together for lunch. No cameras in the room. Bob, almost every time, was one of the ones who would stand up in that room with all the other senators from around the country, talking about the working people of Pennsylvania and why we needed to have you in our mind when we were thinking about national policy every single day. That's who Bob Casey is. Let's send him back to the United States Senate. Chris Deluzio, we want to thank you. What he is doing in the halls of Congress, again, I mean, you sent some fighters to D.C., Pennsylvania. You sent some fighters to D.C. Your next Attorney General, DePasquale, where are you? I've done that work. I know what it requires, and you're going to be outstanding. So you've got a lot of work, Pennsylvania, on your shoulders right now that you're carrying, and you who are here volunteering to do this work. And we're going to get it done. And Malcolm Kenyatta knows exactly what I'm talking about. I see him almost every time I come into the state. So I want to just address you all right now as the volunteers. You know, Tim said it. This campaign for us is really born out of love of country. We all here, we love our country. And we know our country is going to be as strong as our willingness to fight for it. And to fight for what we stand for. You know, when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. When you stand for working people, you fight for working people. When you stand for freedom, whether it be to make decisions about your own body or love who you love, you fight for those things. When you believe in ending child poverty, you fight for that.
If Kamala doesn't get another plus 3% bump from the DNC in every swing state, it's so over.
These are
It's not an unfair estimation.
And these, therefore, are the things we fight for. And that's what our election is about. Our election
You miss Joe a little? Yeah, me too, man. You don't know what you got till it's gone. You want a guy who is a carcass, actually.
stand for around the globe
Until he's gone and you're like, fuck, where's my carcass?
as a democracy. We know there's a duality to the nature of democracy. On the one hand, incredible strength when it is intact. What it does for its people to protect and defend their rights, their liberty, and their freedom. Incredibly strong and incredibly fragile. It is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. And that's what this campaign is about. This campaign is about a recognition.
You never know the last time you will see somebody, like you never know the last time you will pick up your child. That's crazy.
Perversion that has taken place, I think, which is to suggest that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, when what we know is the real and true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up.
Yo, off script. When she goes off script, she does the rambling stuff a lot. She's back to her old ways. Lord forgive me. She's doing the we must not look backwards. We must have the strength to start revitalizing the effort to look forwards in a meaningful fashion type shit.
What we are about. We know what we stand for. And one of the beautiful things about these next 79 days is
She's back. She's unburdened. She's unburdened by what has been
let's build community.
and burdened by what is to become.
Let's reinforce community.
I can see it. I see it.
all as
She's
volunteers, what you know, and we're going to spread the word, is how you can look at the face of a perfect stranger and see in their face a neighbor. That we see in each other our connection, our interdependence, what we see in each other, which fortifies and reinforces that the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. That's what this campaign is about. Yes, it is about winning, and we will win. And we will win. And through these next 79 days, we will continue to build community, build coalitions, and remind each other we are all in this together. So I thank you all so very much for what you are doing. Now let's get back to work, shall we?
She's worked this part a few times, but the damn hello neighbor just doesn't connect with voters. You think DNC protests are going to be very disruptive? How much do I believe Kamala is going to have? How much is she going to move on Gaza? I think right now, as it seems, considering that there are, in air quotes, ceasefire negotiations that are ongoing, which, by the way, seemingly are not very productive. Okay. So far, not so good. In the first 2 days, there was actually, in the first 2 days of the ceasefire negotiations, there was actually some momentum leading up to the ceasefire convos. America said that they got Israel to basically align on key high profile hostages in Israeli detention that they would release. That seemed like a good thing. Hamas and Hamas officials said that they were not going to participate in the ceasefire conversations, which of course wasn't like entirely correct. They were just doing shuttle diplomacy. Like they were talking through intermediaries as they've done before. Israel's goals for the ceasefire negotiations have basically been to reiterate that, it's not a real ceasefire and that they get to fucking blow Gaza to smithereens after they extract all the hostages, which obviously is not a tenable position. And all the while Israel is supposedly having these ceasefire negotiations, breaking news from this morning, 24 people are now being reported to have been killed in the Israeli airstrike overnight in Gaza, including a mother with her 6 children.
That 24 people are now reported to have been killed in that Israeli airstrike overnight in Gaza, including, of course, the mother with her 6 children. There have been several airstrikes across Gaza conducted by Israel and throughout the day yesterday, including in southern Lebanon, of course. But the latest figure from that particular airstrike in Gaza, multiple airstrikes in Gaza, 24 people killed, and among them a mother and her 6 children.
Great stuff. Great stuff overall. Mouin Rabbani has a thread on the ceasefire conversations, but the latest is that Hamas rejected the latest hostage ceasefire deal, and we have some interviews with them as well, which I will take a look at. Hold on. So Hamas commenting on the last round of negotiations in Doha. We dealt responsibly with the efforts of the mediators and welcomed the declaration of the UN Security Council resolution. We asked for a plan to be presented in anticipation of Netanyahu's procrastination and obstacles, and we were assured that he was continuing to put it forward to thwart the mediators' efforts. The new proposal is consistent with Netanyahu's conditions, such as his rejection of the permanent ceasefire and a comprehensive withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, which prevents the completion of the exchange deal. We hold Netanyahu fully responsible for thwarting the mediators' efforts and for the lives of his prisoners who are exposed to the same danger that our people are exposed to. So when people say, oh, Hamas is like negotiating at the table, or Hamas is not showing up and they're rejecting the bridging proposals, it is specifically because Israel is refusing to meet the earlier conditions that the UN voted on, the earlier conditions that Biden presented, the earlier conditions that Hamas actually presented in late February and agreed to once. So you have to remember that, because that is there is always a little bit of fast and loose. There's always a little bit of a double speak in terms of like how these conversations are being handled, and it is completely ridiculous. It is not a real ceasefire proposal if Israel refuses to agree to the terms that the United States has actually put forward in terms of having it be a phase 1 ceasefire, moving on to a phase 2 where there's a permanent cessation of hostilities and then reconstruction. Okay? Hamas rejects the new U.S. bridging proposal, says Barak Ravid. The new proposal addresses Netanyahu's conditions, especially with regard to his refusal to stop the war and fully withdraw from Gaza, and to continue control over the Philadelphia corridor and the Netzarim corridor. The proposal sets new conditions regarding the prisoner exchange process and withdraws from previous clauses in a way that does not allow reaching an agreement, which is crazy because even fucking Barak Ravid is openly saying that it's Hamas rejecting the new U.S. bridging proposal, which Israel completely changed. Okay? Like, that is ridiculous. Israel is saying that they want to maintain troops in the Philadelphia corridor, is, for those of you who don't understand, surrounding the Rafah region. Israel wants to still be still have boots on the ground in southern Gaza, surrounding the Gaza Strip, specifically on the Egyptian border crossing. You know this better than most. I mean, look how Biden and Liz Truss dropped out. Big changes and deals like this are always impossible, never happening until they do suddenly. That's normal. USA seems to think that they can still get it done this week, so it's not like it's dead. I want this to happen so bad to save lives. I know, but anne o ne? Yok, getirme onu. İstemiyorum. Onu kullanmıyorum artık. Do you think the United States government is starting to get fed up with Israel? No. The Iranian retaliation, the expected Iranian retaliation to Israel, is seemingly just a additional pressure point on these deals coming to a close. Like, the American government and the Hamas officials are using additional Iranian pressure that they have because Iran does have the right to respond to Israel violating Iranian sovereignty once again. They're utilizing that as another pressure point on Israel to do the right thing and to agree to the terms that, like, supposedly they presented. However, they are the ones who keep fucking saying, yeah, these deals that we actually presented are not good. We would like to get all of the what? Lud and Austin fucking got your ass on the pod. You were supposed to do a different language, Haas, my boy. Okay, let's continue. Apparently, CNN pressed the Hamas official Osama Hamdan on whether Hamas accepts any responsibility for the loss of civilian life in Gaza, which residents have told CNN they believe it does. He wouldn't answer and instead took me on a history lesson of events he didn't know I witnessed myself.
Joined by Osama Hamdan. He is a senior member.
I love the fucking I love that as Israel is pummeling Gaza with American weapons, okay, guided missile systems that we are giving to Israel. He's like, how much of the responsibility is on you?
Of Hamas.
Yes, he is asking Hamas to condemn Hamas. American news media is literally so fucking insane that, like, a joke that I made a couple months back of like, well, they're gonna start asking Hamas to you know, denounce Hamas is now happening. Okay.
He joins me now from Doha in Qatar.
Remember, it was the most unbelievably anti-Semitic sentiment to say that, like, perhaps Israel's 75 years of occupation and apartheid and ongoing genocide had something to do with the retaliation to said genocide on October 7th. That was like the most unacceptable thing you could say. People literally got fucking fired from their jobs. People literally had their futures, their future prospect jobs fucked with as a consequence of repeating the same exact positions that the Haaretz editorial board had. Okay, just a fun little reminder that, like, post October 7, if you were like, hey, the responsible party in this circumstance still is very much the party with nuclear weapons, the militarized state that gets unconditional and you know, unshackled, unrestricted American weapons all day, every day. That party perhaps has a little bit of a responsibility in the matter, as they have, over the course of 75 years, only increased the brutality that the Palestinian people under their occupation has been subjected to, which of course is going to lead to retaliation from those people. Okay, that in and of itself is the most unacceptable, most anti-Semitic thing you could say. Okay. Unless you are doing it right, there's absolutely no such thing as a responsible party. What? No, there is a responsible party. The responsible party always is the more powerful actors, especially if there is like an asymmetrical warfare being an asymmetrical war that like a population that is captive is experiencing. Like, what are we talking about? Palestinians across the board are a captive population under Israeli occupation. And this is not a controversial talking point at all. This quite literally is the reality, and is not only the reality, but like even the International Court of Justice has recognized this reality.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Let me begin here. We're 10 months into this war.
Not a fucking ceasefire. Israel just want to win. Our government has chosen to die with Israel. Take responsibility for Israel, please. It's such an abuser's defense too. Like, why did you make Israel drop bombs on children? You really should not have upset them. How are we meant to handle them after you did this? Like, come on. Exactly. That's precisely what they're. A ton of humanitarian workers that are also of Arab descent that no one gives a fuck about. Hundreds of journalists have been slaughtered. Thousands of children have been slaughtered. And this guy's still like, well, you know, don't you think that you have some responsibility for the 40,000 majority civilians? Not majority civilians, sorry. Majority women and children and the elderly, overwhelming majority of which are women, children, and the elderly. Don't you have some responsibility for that?
Us today regret.
Like, America is more responsible than Hamas for those deaths, okay? Straight up.
The October 7th terror attacks?
Well, it seems to me that you are giving the Israelis the right to kill the Palestinians when you ask if we feel regret for what Israel has done. You have to understand that Israel has been killing the Palestinians for the last 76 years. And when the Palestinians react against the occupation, who failed the Palestinians, who failed Oslo Agreement, who continue undermining all the peace process and trying to take over all the Palestinian lands, talking in public about kicking out 2 million Palestinians from West Bank to East Jordan. All this is the right for Israel. And when the Palestinians react against the occupation, they have to regret what the Israelis are doing, killing them by thousands,
Mr.
as
Hamdan,
if the Palestinians were the cause of those killing.
I've been coming to this part of the world for more than 20 years, and I have personally covered terror attacks by Hamas that killed Israeli civilians more than 20 years. So I'm asking.
Bro, once again, you've been covering this region for more than 20 years. You're literally in Tel Aviv. It kind of seems like you have a little bit of a bias here, because for the past 20 years, if you're only talking about like Israeli citizens that have died by Palestinian hands or whatever, and not the fucking Palestinians that are being ruthlessly slaughtered in the hands of Israel, like the numbers on the board do not fucking add up. Okay? That is crazy. Brother, Israel kills their own fucking civilians and their own hostages. So far, Israel is responsible for more of the hostages dying, both on their way out of the Gaza envelope into the Gaza Strip and also directly in the Gaza Strip. Then Hamas has killed Israeli hostages. So what the fuck are we talking about here? There is no defensible position here. This guy is just trying to literally like debate lord this dude, a Hamas official, to be like, hey, yeah, I'm doing my fucking job. My job is to offer only contentious interviews to the envoys of the Palestinian side. That's disingenuous. Nothing I said is disingenuous. Everything I said is 100% correct. The only reason why you would consider that to be disingenuous is if you are completely oblivious to the reality. Okay? There have been reports. They are captured. Exactly. They are captured. Okay? They are captured by Palestinian resistance forces. There has been an ongoing active effort to come to terms with a ceasefire negotiation and a hostage release. Okay? This is correct. That doesn't change the calculation that I just brought forward. Okay? Israel has absolutely killed more of the Israeli hostages than they have saved. Israel has killed more of the Israeli hostages than Hamas has killed Israeli hostages. Okay? That is absolutely the truth. You can't say that this is disingenuous. It is just the fucking truth. Okay? That's it. This is before we even get to the calculation behind how many Palestinians have been detained falsely. If they weren't captured, would they be dead? Okay. You do realize that this exact same principle stands for all of the Palestinians. I don't think you understand. If you don't consider, and this might be an implicit bias caused by so much slanted propaganda against Palestinians, but you have to recognize something here. There are thousands of Palestinians under permanent detention, both from the West Bank and also in the Gaza Strip as well, that Israel currently has held as hostages. Okay? Like right now in Israeli prisons, they're being raped to death by Israeli prison guards. That is literally a thing that is happening currently. Okay? Every single thing that Israel has said Hamas is probably going to do to the Israeli hostages, Israel is literally done. Okay? Israel has straight up done. Human shields, Israel used Palestinians to send them down into fucking tunnel systems and whatnot, dressed up in IDF gear. Okay? Israel claims Palestinians are, Hamas uses Palestinians as human shields. I'm for freeing Palestinians, but I don't agree with the point that Israel killed Israelis captured by Hamas, but they did. You don't have to agree with that point, but that is the truth. When Israel bombs entire city blocks, they are doing that knowing full well that there's a likelihood that there are literally Israelis in those city blocks, Israeli captives in those city blocks. Not only that, but also, maybe you forgot, but Israel directly shot and killed 3 hostages that were free because they did not believe that the hostages were actually fucking Israeli civilians. They thought those were Palestinian civilians. So, like, you can say you don't agree, but it doesn't change the reality. Like, Israel literally fucking shot Israeli hostages that were waving a fucking white flag, being like, we're Israeli, we're Israeli. They shot them point blank. They chased one into a building and killed them, alongside all these aid workers and all these journalists that they fucking ruthlessly slaughtered alongside their family members. So when you say, I don't believe that, okay, I don't believe that, I don't agree with that point, you're just not agreeing with the reality. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not expecting you to see like my biased opinion or whatever, or understand my side of the equation. I'm just trying to get you to openly recognize the reality that Israel is pummeling Gaza and directly killing Israeli hostages as a consequence of that, including Israel, the Israeli forces on the ground, directly shooting point blank and killing a bunch of Israeli hostages that were trying to be saved by the Israeli military. They did that. Anyway, yeah, there it is. So, you know, they also, this isn't like fake news or whatever. They've openly admitted that. They also have a directive called the Hannibal Directive, which dictates that retreating Palestinian forces, if they have Israeli civilian or military hostages, they open up carte blanche, like they just open fire on their own citizens in an effort not to have a bargaining chip that they have to contend with. Likely a majority of hostages that have been killed were killed in IDF airstrikes or lack of medical supplies, etc. I doubt Hamas would have executed dozens of what it sees as bargaining chips. Exactly. And if they were to execute them, they would do it on fucking camera. Why the fuck? They would do it to apply pressure, to be like, hey, see, this is how little you care about your hostages. We're going to start killing them. You fucking see movies. You know, like, you know how this works. Okay. You've at least watched a movie where there is a hostage deal in play. Okay. Like, nobody fucking takes the time out. Nobody takes the time out to, you know, conduct a military operation and you know, put so many lives at risk if they're not going to use those the hostages that they took as a bargaining chip to get Israel to meet their demands. And that's precisely the reason why the Hannibal Directive works to begin with. The reason why there is such a thing as the Hannibal Directive is specifically because Israel knows that Hamas or any Palestinian resistance group will actually use the captured Israeli hostages as bargaining chips. So they fucking try to kill them beforehand, as they did on October 7. Now, obviously, it wasn't the majority of the Israeli citizens that were killed in the hands of the Israeli military, but a decent chunk of them, especially in the kibbutzim, were actually killed by tank fire. Okay? We know that now. And that is not speculation. That is Israel's own admission. Okay? This is Israeli reporting. There's plenty of Israeli reporting on the matter. There's plenty of there's plenty of internal security assessments that have been made since then. They used helicopter fires. They used helicopter fire and they used artillery from tanks to stop Israeli hostages from being carried over to the Palestinian side to Gaza. They shot them and killed them. They shot them down. Okay?
It's just looking at the last 10 months of this conflict for a moment. Does Hamas accept any responsibility for the deaths of Palestinian civilians in Gaza? Because as you know, Hamas tunnels, Hamas military units are based under and around homes, mosques, schools in Gaza. Do you accept responsibility for any of the deaths in Gaza?
Yeah. Unfortunately, you have covered this region for 20 years, but you was watching the region by the Israeli eyes. You didn't show the Israelis killing thousands of Palestinians within those 20 years. In 2014, Israel attacked Gaza and they killed more than 4,000 Palestinians. You didn't see that. They attacked Gaza and they killed in one day 1,000 Palestinians in 2008, and you didn't see that. Those attacks.
Actually, I was here in 2014. I was here in 2014, and I was here in 2008.
Yeah, but you're not listening to this dude. He's right. Okay, he's absolutely 100% correct. You were here. You were reporting on it, but you were seeing the region through the lens of he says Israeli eyes, but like through the lens of a pro-Israel attitude. Okay, that is true. That's not like a shocking thing to recognize. He himself, the way he's talking about the situation in 2014, he's making it seem like it's like, oh, well, I talked about all the Hamas killing Israeli civilians. It's like, bro, the numbers are obviously not even remotely close to one another.
I'm asking you if Hamas accepts. I do, but what you're saying is factually not true. I was here for both. I was here for both of those conflicts. My question is, does Hamas accept any responsibility for the deaths of its own people in Gaza?
You can't, excuse me, you can't ask and answer by yourself. Either you let me to answer, or you can finish that talking by yourself to yourself. If you wish that, It's okay. I'm done. I have to answer, and I want to say what I want to say. It's not your duty to dictate what I'm supposed to say. It's not your duty to receive the answers you wish to receive.
So the question is, do you accept responsibility for the deaths of civilians in Gaza? That's the question.
You still keep watching what is happening by.
Can you imagine this kind of conversation being held against an Israeli official? Like, not even post October 7, okay? But like even now, okay, almost a year into Israel's genocide in Gaza, can you imagine someone on CNN being this aggressive and having this kind of the line of questioning against an Israeli official, some of which are declared war criminals now, okay, for the offensive strikes that they're conducting? Not even like not even if they were like Mehdi Hassan on Zeteo will do that, and that's pretty much it. And that's an independent outlet now. Okay, he used to do that on MSNBC. He no longer does it on MSNBC. I have never heard a CNN, New York Times, like any major Western media outlet cover Israel's genocidal actions with even a fraction of the intensity that this man has for the Palestinian leadership. Okay, the only exception is Channel 4. Yes, you're right. The only exception is Channel 4 in British media. With the exception of Channel 4 in British media, there is not a single fucking moment where a high-ranking American media official has had a high-ranking Israeli official and have held them to account in a similar regard. The double standard is crazy, okay?
The Israeli eyes, listening by the Israeli ears, acting as if you are part of Israeli military attack against the Palestinians. It seems that you support the killing of 40,000 Palestinians. You are not blaming the Israelis for anything. You are talking about Palestinians who are being killed as if they were nothing, and you are just saying that the Palestinians were killing the Israelis. Let's go to West Bank. There is no Hamas. There is no action from Hamas, and the Israelis have killed already 800 Palestinians in the last 10 months. What about this? They are talking about the Palestinian.
In fact, sir, as you know, CNN has covered the deaths of Palestinians quite closely. But let me ask you a question here, because you're saying.
Unfortunately, you are not.
So I'm going to quote.
You should ask him, like, when is the last time you had an Israeli high-ranking official address their crimes, like address their war crimes that are visible by obviously like any honest person's eyes, that not only are visible by any honest person's eyes, but like war crimes that are so egregious that the human rights organizations internationally have openly called into question Israel's actions and misconduct, that international organs of justice have considered them to be war crimes. Like, have you ever asked an Israeli official these kinds of leading questions? The only smoke that you have is for victims. Okay, that's it. The only smoke you have is for victims who dare say enough is enough. We're not letting this slide any longer. That's it. That's it. They have this kind of attitude only towards victims of a genocide. Okay, and those who dare resist genocide, never to those conducting it.
I'm going to quote you right now.
You didn't show the women who were.
I'm going to quote you right now, a Palestinian in Gaza.
We are talking about 16,000 children who are being killed by the Israelis, and you are asking if the resistance is responsible.
I'm very aware of the civilian toll in Gaza.
Excuse me, you are not listening, and you are not allowing me to answer. You don't want to listen to.
When have we ever seen proof of Hamas hiding behind civilians in the most densely populated place on earth? There is none. Hamas hiding behind civilians in the most densely slammed, like, open air prison is like even more of a ridiculous assessment to make than like Israel having fucking IDF headquarters next to a goddamn mall in Tel Aviv. You know what I mean? Like, Israel does the exact same shit, if not significantly worse shit overall, and it doesn't really matter. Okay, It doesn't really fucking matter. There is a reason why there is a reason why everybody understands, every honest person understands that the way to deal with Hamas is not through warfare. And this is a reality that even like Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has openly recognized at this point. Okay. That dealing with Hamas has to be a political deal, not a military deal, because everyone is a part of the Palestinian resistance, because your enemies are the entirety of the Palestinian population. You can't parse through comb through the entire Palestinian population and be like, who has allegiances to the fucking interior ministries? Who has allegiances to the civilian population? When you consider all matter of the civilian population and the civil governance division of Hamas to also still very much be a part of the military, and you keep killing all these children and claiming that they're fucking Hamas. That's it. Israel does not consider Palestinian civilians to be civilians at all. They see them as either collateral damage or pesky little fucking victims that get in the way of them conducting their ethnic cleansing campaign that then the media covers every now and then, and it frustrates Israel that the media is even offering any sort of coverage whatsoever. That's why they turn around and say stuff like, oh, well, Pallywood, they're faking their deaths, or they're telegenically dead children. Words that, Benjamin Netanyahu has literally used.
To the facts. You just want to listen to yourself. It's okay. That's enough. It's fine.
No, I'm going to quote you now. I'm going to quote you now, a Palestinian from Gaza.
You want just to hear to yourself. You just want to listen to yourself and to the Israelis. If you are aware and worried for the reaction of the Israelis, don't talk to Hamas. Thank you very much. The Israelis have killed us. And
in fact, we've invited you on the air to ask you questions.
No, you didn't invite him on air to ask him questions. Those are not questions you're asking. There's a genocide going on. It's like fucking literally having like a leader of a Warsaw Ghetto Uprising resistance group, having them on and being like, how much of the responsibility of the ethnic cleansing operations that the Nazis are engaging with, how much of that responsibility falls on your shoulders for resisting against an active occupation and genocide? Okay? It's no different than that. It is straight up no different than that, dude. Literally. And they're obviously in the beginning, in October, because of the unimaginable amount of like uninitiated people in the Western world, especially in the United States of America, making a comparison such as that one, even though it is an apt comparison, is a perfectly valid comparison to make, was met with like shock. People were like, I can't believe you're making these comparisons, but it is the reality. Okay?
No. In a responsible position for the killings of the Palestinians. You are supporting the killings of the Palestinians. I'm sorry to hear that from the CIA.
And it's now after, 11 months after, or 10 months, it's now gotten to a point where people do recognize that. People do fucking recognize that, like, the situation is like slanted in the favor of one side over the other, where like there is no humanity ever recognized of the victims of this apartheid or Israel's genocidal operations. Here's another conversation. Hamas spokesperson in Lebanon tells Sky the U.S. president is just trying to keep everyone sounding positive in the media.
Is just trying to give a positive impression. But the first round came with no improvements. The mediators told us the points we disagree on haven't been solved, and Netanyahu has added yet more conditions and made it even more complicated.
Israel keeps on saying that it's Hamas who is objecting to certain key things in the peace deal that's been drawn up, that it's Hamas who is adding conditions. Given that you're not at the talks, I mean, they seem to have a better grasp of what's going on, perhaps.
No one believes Netanyahu. Hamas accepted Biden's previous proposal and the UN.
There's a part of me that doesn't understand why Hamas would strike at all when they know Israel has all the power to wipe them out. But I do understand also okay, great question. Okay. I think that's a genuine question. I'll answer it. When you push people into a corner and you show them that you do not recognize them as human beings, and they see that there's no other option but to fight themselves out of that corner, they will do desperate things. Okay? October 7 is an act of retaliation born out of desperation. No one who is in a good position, no one who is in a positive, powerful position, no one whose human rights are acknowledged are going to react in that sort. This is why I always say, since October 7, that the standard of violence is set by the colonial force. The standard of violence is set by the occupation, always. Okay? That is precisely why the resistance tactics have changed over the course of 76 years. Do you understand? Like, originally, the first Intifada was a civil rebellion, right? The Palestinian population in the first Intifada were mostly children throwing rocks at Israeli tanks and shit, doing mass strikes, work stoppages, and the like. And they were met with unimaginable retaliation from the much more powerful Israeli military. There was a standard practice of breaking kids' hands in an effort to stop them from ever throwing a rock ever again. This is precisely what they did. They killed a bunch of people. Okay? There's not really any assurances from the Israeli side that they will recognize the dignity and humanity of the Palestinians and only have increased the stress, increased the violence, increased the bloodshed that the Palestinians have met over the course of the past 76 years now. Okay? So for them, it's like, what are they supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? If you could ever close your eyes and imagine that you're in a situation where, like, the most powerful country on the planet, okay, the most powerful country on the planet is backing this massive nuclear-powered state, and they're just murdering people left and right. They don't see you as a human being. They openly say that they don't see you as a human being. Their actions represent that they don't see you as a human being. They blow up your schools. They blow up your family members. They orphan you. And at the end, you're like, I can't even leave. You know, I can't even go anywhere because I'm stuck in Gaza. What am I supposed to do? What would you do? You know? And this is not all that crazy to assume, because the reality is it's a thing that, like, Israeli officials have recognized as well. Former Israeli prime ministers, generals, interior security, Shin Bet officials have recognized that if they were on the other side of this border wall, they absolutely would be a terrorist. Okay? They have openly said it. Ehud Barak said it. Like, it's just, there's no, when you offer no peace, when you offer no outlet, no way of letting Palestinians breathe or live, and you back them into a fucking cage, and you keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, of course they are going to react. And of course they're going to react in a violent manner, because violence is all they have seen. There is no peace solution in this process. The so-called peace negotiations, the so-called peace process that has been ongoing since the Oslo Accords have only led to more death and destruction and more land theft from the Palestinian side. They literally only see Israel building settlements in the West Bank and increasing the pressure on the Palestinians that live in the West Bank, an area that Israel illegally has occupied since 1967 with military occupation, creating Bantustans, just like in apartheid South Africa. So for them, there's nothing else. There's no other way out of this. Like, Israel keeps showing the world that they only respond to force.
And Security Council decision, and yet in every case Netanyahu is refusing to agree and putting up obstacles.
There are 40,000 people dead now, more than 40,000 people dead in Gaza alone. Is it even possible to try to get a...
What happened to the Golan Heights and Sinai Peninsula? Great question. Golan Heights, Israel permanently occupies now, even though it's Syrian territory. America recognizes annexation under the Trump administration. Sinai Peninsula, Israel actually had to pull out of. Why? War, pressure, force, just like Lebanon. Israel has only shown the region that they will only draw back their fucking national boundaries if the enemies of Israel show Israel that they are willing to respond to them in kind. Okay? That's it. The only time that Israel ever fucking draws back land is when they are met with force. Okay?
Pause, at least in the fighting, to give people some respite.
Hamas has done everything to reach a deal to stop this war, but it's Israel who's carrying it on, who's insisting on committing crimes, and the Americans are supporting them whilst the world just watches it all. We don't want the war to stop only temporarily and on Israeli terms, so they take back their hostages and then just carry on.
Yeah, America has to be a pressure point on Israel. If there isn't any pressure point from the United States of America, Israel has shown that they will never, like, either they have to incur significant troop casualties and then there's like internal pressure from the Israeli civilian population to stop these fucking war efforts because their economy is tanking or whatever. But ultimately, the only time Israel ever draws back is if the United States of America tells them to do so, or if regional actors actually fucking stress them enough with violent resistance that they are forced to reckon with that violence resistance and find a different, more peaceable negotiation in the path forward.
On committing massacres afterwards. We want a permanent ceasefire because that's what benefits our people most, and it's our people who are telling us not to accept a deal without a permanent ceasefire.
There it is. Moin Rabbani, I've been making the argument that the ongoing negotiations for Gaza ceasefire are a diversionary U.S.-Israeli charade and shouldn't be taken seriously. Initially, their primary purpose was to serve as a fig leaf for Israel to continue with this genocidal campaign in the Gaza Strip. In other words, reasons for Gaza ceasefire are a diversionary U.S.-Israeli charade and shouldn't be taken seriously. Initially, their primary purpose was to serve as a fig leaf for Israel to continue with this genocidal campaign in the Gaza Strip. In other words, their purpose is process, and their objective has therefore been to avoid reaching a ceasefire agreement rather than concluding one. An Oslo process for genocide, if you will. Just as Oslo served as the essential fig leaf enabling Israel to intensify settlement expansion and annexationist policies, which is precisely what it did through the supposed peace negotiations. While Washington ran interference for Israel with a peace process designed to go nowhere, so with these ceasefire negotiations that commenced many months ago. For those who may not recall the 90s, Washington typically rebuffed international criticism of Israeli policy with the argument that its peace process would resolve that matter at hand. An effort to hold Israel accountable for its actions would derail diplomacy. That's what they keep saying. The latest ceasefire negotiations have a more specific purpose than buying time for Israel to snatch an unattainable military victory from the closing jaws of failure. And this is to forestall and failing that to minimize to the extent possible any retaliation by Iran, any retaliation by Hezbollah and their coalition partners, including Ansar Allah, for Israel's recent spate of assassinations and bombings in the region. There is obviously, they're obviously waiting to see what this ceasefire negotiations looks like, and they will respond to they will respond with retaliation to defend themselves, to defend their sovereignty. I'm talking about the resistance groups in the region. People need to realize that count of civilians versus military Israel gives in the victims. October 7th attack is skewed. Israel counted off-duty military personnel and civilian contractors working in military bases as civilians. Also, Hamas had a better ratio of military versus civvies than the other groups and gangs that came over. Those third-ish parties killed a higher percentage of civilians than Hamas. Yes, it ultimately still doesn't matter, though, because even if it was all in the hands of Hamas, October 7th, entirely, their civilian to enemy combatant casualty percentages are infinitely better than what Israel has done in Gaza since October 7th. Okay? So it doesn't even fucking matter. Washington's position is that neither Iran nor Lebanon nor indeed any other state in the region has a right to defend itself against Israeli attack or any right to respond to an Israeli attack. Pursuant to the rules-based international order, Israel, by contrast, has not only a right to be protected from retaliation or any other repercussion resulting from its actions, but also has the right to respond as it sees fit to any reprisals provoked by its actions. This is literally the case. This is only the case. Israel and the United States of America has not moved away from this position even an inch since October 7 and even before October 7. Israel has a right to retaliate. You do not have a right to retaliate back if your sovereignty is violated. If you do, we will defend Israel, and then we will also defend whatever Israel does next afterwards. As I've noted previously, perhaps the only consistent U.S. position since October 7 has been its opposition to regional escalation beyond Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories. Washington's problem is that it has consistently declined to use either its influence or power to prevent such escalation, and when it has, this has been ineffective. There have only been two exceptions thus far. In early October, Israel was reportedly on the verge of launching a massive attack against Lebanon to strike a blow against the Hezbollah movement. U.S. President Joe Biden, recognizing Israel would be biting off far more than it was in a position to chew, counseled Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu against doing so, and the latter immediately called it off. It only took one phone call. That's what's adding insult to the injury, is that the American solution to this problem is one fucking singular phone call. That's what is like so mind-boggling to me, at least as an understander of Israeli history and prior actions taken by Israel and America's commitment to Israeli security, is that this is something that can end with one fucking phone call. Okay? That's it. Which means that America looks at what Israel is doing and says, hey, you know, we can keep it going. We can keep it going. We can keep it going for as long as we can. About a month later, a series of powerful U.S. air raids against militias in Iraq that had been firing increasingly lethal drones and missiles at Israel, as well as U.S. bases in Iraq, Syria, and Jordan, led these groups to announce a cessation of attacks against U.S. facilities. Their attacks against Israel, however, continued, and they have more recently also resumed shelling U.S. forces. By contrast, Operation Prosperity Guardian, which is, of course, protecting your the Israeli Amazon shipments, was a massive failure, by the way. Failed to avoid the top of the hour ad break, which you can still avoid by subscribing with an Amazon Prime account connected to your Twitch account for free. You know, it's like a phone call, basically. It's as easy as a phone call. You could just subscribe for $6 or get a free Twitch Prime subscription and use it here on your favorite broadcaster. This way you won't see the 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. Here it is. Anyway, they tried to deter Ansar Allah, also known as the Houthis, from attacking ships seeking to enter the Red Sea, and it's been an abject failure. The attacks have continued. Shipping continues to avoid Suez Canal, and the Israeli port of Eilat recently declared bankruptcy. The deployment of 2 U.S. aircraft carriers into the eastern Mediterranean in October to deter Hezbollah from maintaining a support front in southern Lebanon has failed to make an impression on the Lebanese movement. The primary reason for U.S. failure has been Washington's unwillingness to use its influence on Israel to end its genocidal campaign against Israel in order to end the activities of the various support fronts, or to commit the blood and treasure that would be required to terminate the support fronts itself. So either they have to go full balls to the wall and engage in complete regional conflict where American soldiers are fighting Hezbollah, American soldiers are fighting in Iraq, Syria, and also in Yemen, okay, and maybe even Iran, who knows, or they have to restrain Israel. It's that simple, okay? Blood and treasure is such a weird phrase they use. No, blood and treasure in this situation means like money, okay, and humans. Because like he's basically saying you would need to actually use American soldiers and American weapons to completely eliminate Hezbollah, which, by the way, we don't even fucking know if that could happen, right? Like, we still don't know. That, of course, assuming the U.S. can succeed where Israel has failed, and then the U.S. counterinsurgency is improved by leaps and bounds since the failed campaigns in Iraq and Afghanistan. The main challenge to current U.S. efforts to prevent further regional escalation are the vows of Hezbollah and Iran to retaliate against Israel independently of developments in the Gaza Strip. Whether, when, and where, and how they will respond is at best speculation. It could consist of anything from a coordinated attack against Israel to a single high-profile operation to Tehran crossing the nuclear threshold. Washington has taken these threats sufficiently seriously that it believes ceasefire negotiations will make it difficult, if not impossible, for Israel's adversaries to retaliate if, in doing so, they end up saddled with the responsibility of derailing an initiative to end the war against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. That's pretty much the sole reason negotiations resumed with such fanfare this week. They are cynically weaponizing the so-called peace process once again, just like they did. It is a direct analog. It is a direct parallel to how the American government cynically weaponized the so-called peace process and the peace negotiations from the 90s onward to allow Israel to expand their settlements violently, okay, making a two-state solution unfeasible and completely impossible. We are now there. Now they're using the ceasefire negotiations cynically to allow Israel more room without any sort of Iranian or Lebanese or Yemeni incursions, retaliations as a direct consequence of Israel greatly overstepping what is legally permissible in terms of like retaliating against regional actors. Okay, that's it. And I do think that this is very cynical. This is precisely the reason why Hamas has consistently been like, dude, just do the fucking deal. Do the deal that you said you wanted to do. Do the deal you said you weren't, that you are going to do. And then after that, you know, we'll see what happens. But Israel is not interested in doing the
here on the
deal.
beach.
Israel is not interested in doing the deal that it claims it is its own deal. The herd of elephants in the negotiating chambers is, of course, Israel and specifically Netanyahu, as even his own defense minister and the negotiators the Israeli prime minister is personally appointed have now made clear the PM, Netanyahu himself, personally does not want a deal and is the obstacle to one being concluded, to the extent that he has sabotaged the U.S. initiative that, according to Biden, was formulated not in Washington but by Netanyahu himself. Initially convinced that Hamas would reject it, Netanyahu was blindsided when the Palestinians on July 2nd announced their acceptance. Netanyahu responded by adding new conditions that had not been a part of his initiative announced by Biden. They moved the fucking goalposts. To square this circle and amid much fanfare as the threat of regional war looms large, Biden on August 9th sought to demonstrate seriousness of the purpose by signing, along with the leaders of Egypt and Qatar, a statement that for immediate relief of the Palestinians in Gaza, for captives, hostages, and their families. According to the communique, the three leaders had forged a framework agreement that is now on the table with only the details of implementation left to conclude. There is no further time to waste nor excuses from any party for further delay. Anticipating further U.S.-Israeli trickery, Hamas announced it would not participate in this week's negotiations because the initiative had already been negotiated and at the U.S. insistence endorsed by the UN Security Council. Rather, it called upon the mediators to formulate a plan to implement the initiative Hamas had already accepted and presented to the parties. After all, the 9th of August communique had stated that the U.S., Egypt, and Qatar are prepared to present the final bridging proposal that resolves the remaining implementation issues in a manner that meets the expectations of all parties, as in hold Israel to account. So why hasn't the United States held Israel to account? Why hasn't any of the communication coming from the United States calling Israel and their actions in this supposed ceasefire process? Why is it not? Why has the media not said, yo, what is going on? Why is Israel just like refusing to abide by the own conditions that they put forward? Hamas has already accepted this proposal. Hamas actually presented the original proposal all the way back in fucking February. What the fuck's going on? I'm gonna ask if they want Mendo or Mendo. I'm gonna ask Mendo or the other. Okay. Recognizing that any negotiations on Israel's new conditions would blow up the entire process, and with it the Middle East, the U.S. is seeking to incorporate these conditions as its own clarifications to the initiative previously announced by Biden. Expect Blinken, with the earnest mendacity that is trademarked, to insist these have been a part of the initiative all along. That's the other side of this. In U.S. English, what the fuck just happened? Oh, in U.S. English, immediate and no further time to waste means the issue a statement on August 9th is to call for an urgent meeting almost a week later on August 15th. This is the final bridging proposal. It predictably remains a work in progress. It is now scheduled for further discussion next Friday, 24th of August. The U.S. will be represented by the Secretary of State Antony Blinken as a clear signal that, as can be, that progress is not on the agenda. Recognizing that any negotiations on Israel's new... What is going on? This fucking Twitter thread. Recognizing that any negotiation on Israel's new conditions will blow up the entire process, and with it the Middle East, the U.S. is seeking to incorporate these conditions as its own clarification. So they're going to lie. They are going to lie and say, oh, well, these were our conditions. It's just Hamas is lying about said conditions. I mean, duh. As noted above, as with Oslo, the purpose here is process, not its conclusion with an agreement. And as with Oslo, which in 2000 produced the second intifada because the charade became impossible to conceal further, the ceasefire process is producing diminishing returns. If this week's negotiation successfully forestalled reprisals by Hezbollah and Iran, that appears no longer to be the case. I suspect it is in this context that we should interpret Hezbollah's 16th of August unveiling of its sophisticated Emad-4 underground bunker complex, seemingly impervious to either U.S. or Israeli deep penetration bombs. That's the reason why they flexed and showed their fucking underground bunkers with capabilities of actually striking anywhere in the region with trucks that can drive through said underground bunkers. That was basically brandishing, saying like, we have these guns that you were completely oblivious to, and we will use them if you don't fucking do the peace process. Perhaps for this reason, a senior U.S. official was on August 16th quoted by the Times of Israel warning Iran of a cataclysmic consequence if it exercises its right to defend against Israel. The official is presumably full aware that a cataclysmic is typically code for a WMD, not the assassination of senior officials. We'll find out soon enough if the threat has any impact. The end. That is where we're at Here, by the way, a delegation from the UN finally made it into North Gaza. This is Israel's war against Hamas, chat. You don't understand. All of these buildings were Hamas. You're surprised there is a road? They need to move their tanks. That's why the roads, like the dirt roads, exist. It is specifically so that they can move their fucking weapons of war freely. It's not really a road. It is actually a bulldozed road where a road used to previously exist, but no longer does. Are you as invested in other conflicts and suffering as you are in this? Yes, I am. And I do cover it a lot. But I do find it funny that you immediately only bring this up cynically, okay? After saying, why not release the hostages and watch as Israel will still keep up their invade, and now they no longer have an excuse for what they're doing. Yeah, as though that is something that is going to work. You literally looked at this and you said, aren't you worried about other conflicts too? Like, hey, how about you look away from this? How about you look away from this that is happening with your weapons, with your taxpayer dollars, and then so obviously went and turned around and acted like you actually think that like Israel will have Israel needs excuses to behave this way. Oh, it won't have any excuses. Will you support a ceasefire if Palestinians release all the fucking hostages? No, you won't. So shut the fuck up. You'll turn the other cheek and you'll keep saying, you'll find a different fake excuse made up by Israel to continue its fucking bloody war, as you have already obviously avoided the reality of the matter that is unfolding in front of you. There were probably Israeli civilians that were held hostage in some of these fucking buildings. Israel blew them up regardless. Israel killed those hostages. Once again, showcasing that it doesn't give a fuck about the civilian casualties. Like, the Western world's attitude towards Israel has already moved way beyond what is permissible, okay? Like, Israel's actions are far above and beyond what is normal, what is allowed, what should be allowed, okay? And yet Israel shows no signs Israel shows no signs of fucking stopping, and they're posting videos like this instead.
I'm Zach Sage Fox here on the beach of Tel Aviv. Welcome to Are You a White Colonizer? The game show. Let's play. Excuse me, ma'am, to win 100 shekels, are you a white colonizer?
I am not.
Congratulations, because you've won 100 shekels!
Thank you.
Bye! Right, for 100 shekels, are you a white colonizer?
No.
Where's your family from?
From República Dominicana.
Okay, so you're from the Dominican Republic?
Yeah.
You won 100 shekels! Is this a white country?
Bro, it's so crazy. It's so crazy watching this fucking insane video right after we just saw the conditions in northern Gaza. It's like, dude, you literally are a colonizer, okay? You are. Like, you can shield all the fucking brown people you can find on a beautiful Tel Aviv beach all day, every day to be like, see, we're so multicultural and so different. It's like, that doesn't change the reality. Look at your beaches, look at your way of existence right now, and then look at like fucking 15 miles beyond the boundary of the Gaza border fence. This is literally zone of interest shit, dude. Straight up.
Country?
No, you have here black, white, everything you want.
Come here, experience it with your own eyes, and you'll see that there's a lot of friendly brown people all over the place.
Where are you from?
Brazil and Colombia.
Indians, you born in India.
I am from Melut.
Morocco and Iran.
Half Spanish, half Brazilian. I am Yemen.
Morocco.
That's not very white colonizer-y at all. Are you a white colonizer?
No.
You've won 100. Are you a white colonizer?
No.
No, I'm not.
No.
When I look at my skin, I realize, no, indeed, I'm not.
Guess what? You won 100.
Oh shit, dude. Never mind. Never mind. There's a lot of friendly brown people in Israel, bro. Yeah. So I guess they're not engaging in fucking death, destruction, and genocide. What I find funny about this tweet is that this person admits Israelis are in fact colonizers. All Israelis are white colonizers. Israelis? Yeah. No, some of them are black. Some of them are brown. Many of them are brown, actually. Why, one must ask why there is like a different tier of citizenship even inside of Israel for non-Jews, you know? Yeah. Everybody loves talking about how Israel, what are you talking about? It's not, it's so diverse. It's so crazy. It's like, okay, if you're Jewish of Arab descent, you get to live wherever the fuck you want. If you're Muslim of Arab background or Christian of Arab background and you live inside of Israel and you have citizenship, you can't really marry who you want. You can't live wherever you want. What's that about? Someone should ask that question. What the fuck is that about? Now, the sad truth of the matter is that because the conditions in West Bank are so much worse, and because the conditions in Gaza are just like completely untenable, it's just straight up genocide, that like obviously is Palestinian citizens of Israel, the non-Jewish citizens inside of Israel of Arab descent, Druze, Bedouin, right? Those guys' conditions are infinitely better. But even then, there is different tiers, okay? The best you can expect, however, is, you know, systematic disenfranchisement.
I'm so happy. My grandparents came from Baghdad, Iraq. They were ethnically cleansed from there in the 40s.
Wow. And they got kicked out?
Yes.
Yeah, years ago.
For being Jewish?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Your family be allowed to go back to Yemen? Are Jews allowed in Yemen?
That's a nice thought.
What do you have to say to all of the people in the world who are calling this an apartheid white colonizer state?
Please use your brains, check facts, educate yourself.
I find it very offensive to be called.
I think it's pretty funny because, like I said, whenever an Israeli is met with the reality that Israel's an apartheid regime and they have to like respond to that, it's fucking awesome. This is going against the narrative. What? Are you talking about? Are you taking Maya Ayuni's side? Please don't respond to that. It's fucking awesome. This is going against the narrative. What? Are you talking about? Are you taking Maya Ayuni's side? Please don't pro-Palestinians are no, not defeating the anti-black allegations. This is going against the narrative. Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, totally. You're right. 40,000 fucking dead. 76 years of apartheid. The international organs of justice recognize it as such. But hey, this guy went up to a bunch of fucking brown people who are like, no, sweetie, Israel is not a colonizer. And then all of a sudden the narrative is shifted. Dumb fuck. Dude, listen. I don't know if you're like Unit 8200 up in this bitch, but you are doing a horrible job. You consistently say the dumbest shit in this fucking chat. I keep you in here as a little pet to fucking pet your head every time you chirp, okay, with your stupid fucking sock account. But goddamn, dude, you really got to be better. Be better. Anyway, as I was saying, every time Israelis are met with the reality that Israel's an apartheid, they come across as the most annoying fucking dipshits on the planet. So it immediately destroys whatever kind of fucking narrative that they're trying to present. Okay? Oh, what do you mean Israel is an apartheid state? It is not, sweetie. We are fighting against terror. No politique. No politique here. Are you taking Mayuni's side? Please don't. Pro-Palestinian are not defeating the anti-black allegation. No, pro-Palestinian are not beating anti-black allegation. Israel, the most pro-black nation. Israel. That is why Israel the best. That's why we sterilize the Ethiopian Jews. Because we love the black people. No politic here. Israel so pro-black. We love putting black people in IDF uniform and showing we are fighting terror, babies. No politic. How dare you? No politic here.
Called the white colonizers. What are we colonizing?
They need to come visit.
So Jews really do come in all shades and sizes.
Yeah, of course.
As you just saw, Israel is anything but a white colonizer state.
Sick, dude. Yeah. What's going on? What's going on the other fucking side? What's going on the other side of the fucking borderline? You know what I mean? He's trying to get clips out of context. Maya Ayuni was arguing she could say the N-word on 2020 on TikTok. I don't know who the fuck Maya Ayuni is, bro. What are you talking about? Have I responded to Maya Ayuni? Is that what I'm talking about here? Or am I talking about the fucking Israeli apartheid or the Israeli genocide of the Palestinians? What do you mean clipped out of context? Who the fuck is Maya Ayuni? I don't give a shit what she has advocated for in 2020 or whenever the fuck she's advocated for whatever the fuck. Okay? That doesn't change the equation here. What a desperate fucking attempt to be like, oh yeah, these guys are so anti-black, bro. I guess we have to defend the genocide then. Sorry. Chatter was talking about a random TikToker. Yeah, chatters are fucking ridiculous. It is also additionally hilarious again that this is a last-ditch desperate attempt. It's so funny to be like, yeah, dude, the pro-Palestinian cause is so anti-black. They're really not beating the anti-black allegations. Like, shut the fuck up, bitch. What do you mean? The fuck are you talking about? The same tactics that the American police force that used kettle and corralling strategies against the fucking domestic anti-police population in the riots and the fucking protests that turned into riots was directly with IDF training. Like, what are we talking about? The connection between Israel and American policing is so deep. It is hilarious that the people try to fucking... It is so hilarious that people try to go, oh, actually, the pro-Palestinian side is very anti-black, sweetie. Shut the fuck up. Fuck you. Suck my fucking dick. Okay? Anyone that falls for that shit is the dumbest loser on the planet. I'm sorry. If you are like, if you're pro-Palestinian, okay? If you're pro-Palestinian emancipation and you watch fucking one TikTok that is massaged in a certain way and it like literally primes you into being like, oh yeah, well my conditional loyalty or my conditional allegiance is totally transactional. Actually, allyship is transactional to me. And I've decided that pro-Palestinians are anti-black. Like, then you're fucking oblivious to the reality, dumb fuck. Get out of here. Get this fucking idiotic psyop out of here, dude. Shut the fuck up.
Politics now.
Anyway, Pennsylvania takes center stage with visits by both candidates.
As the presidential candidates focus their energies on Pennsylvania, seen as a key state to winning the White House in November. And ABC White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks joined.
She's not really random. There was a huge controversy surrounding her. No, she is random. You want to know why she's random? Because she's a random fucking TikToker whose name I've never heard in my entire life. Okay? So I'm sorry. It is a fucking random TikTok narrative. I don't give a fuck about one random TikToker's huge controversy with a couple million followers. Like, you're fucking insane, dude. Charlie D'Amelio would not even move the fucking needle in this situation, okay? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? What are we talking about? This is insane. I'm not saying that, like, that random TikToker is doing a psyop. I'm saying that, like, all of the drama surrounding a random TikToker is a very obvious fucking psyop, okay? Yeah. Look, this is... If every Palestinian... If every Hamas member said the M-word 10 times a day, Palestinians still wouldn't deserve the genocide. Like, I know that is a ridiculous thing to mention, but it's true. Like, the idea that, like, it is no different than people being like, wow, dude, some Palestinians are very anti-gay. It's like, okay, what about the fucking gay Palestinians that are being killed? Like, what are you talking about? I guess they deserve genocide then. My bad, bro. My bad. Like, sorry, sweetie. The genocide will not stop, okay? I've decided that the pro-Palestinian movement in the Western world is actually anti-black, sweaty. Oh my God, what a laughable fucking notion, dude. Like, these are some of the most diverse crowds of people. Like, it's one of the most diverse groups of people in terms of, like, the pro-Palestinian emancipation because it touches, like, every fucking part of intersectionality. Literally.
Joins us with the latest. Mary Alice, good morning.
Yeah, well, good morning. Both Democrats and Republicans really zeroing in on the economy this week, trading attacks over who has the best economic proposals. Today, Vice President Harris and Governor Walz will be in Western Pennsylvania on a new bus tour before heading to Chicago. This morning, all eyes on Pennsylvania, where Vice President Kamala Harris is set to debut a new campaign bus on the eve of the Democratic National Convention. Former President Donald Trump also spending the weekend in the key battleground state.
I will rapidly drive prices down and we will make America affordable again.
Offering few specifics on what he would try to do to bring down costs, but upping his attacks on Harris's economic proposals.
She went full communist.
Harris this week blamed corporations.
That was really awesome. Have you guys fucking seen, what is this? What the fuck is this? I wouldn't hold my breath on a 1 million follower TikToker because this is how consequential a 16 million follower TikToker is. Like, who the fuck is this? This person has 16 million followers on TikTok and nobody showed up to her meet and greet? What? Anyway, okay, we're done with the TikTok portion, please. Oh my God. Did you guys see Trump fucking talking about how if you vote for Kamala Harris, everyone will get health care? I love that. These guys are so brain broken, bro. You vote for Kamala Harris, everyone's getting health care. A nightmare scenario. Can you imagine how bad it would be for every American to get health care? Terrifying reality, folks. Everyone knows Americans are better off without health care.
For price gouging and promised penalties for them to try to drive down grocery costs, as well as new funding to work on the housing crisis. Republicans pouncing. saying government spending has led to inflation. As a pitch to bring back jobs, Trump pushing for tariffs on products coming from overseas.
I want to cut taxes on Americans while putting tariffs on China and foreign countries to bring our jobs back home to Pennsylvania.
Trump spending much of his remarks commenting on Harris's looks.
They said, no, her biggest advantage is that she's a beautiful woman. I'm going, huh. I never thought of that. I'm better looking than she is.
Some of his supporters saying he should lay off the personal attacks.
Let's talk about, the facts of what's going on in the country, the issues. He does need to ease up on that a little bit.
Harris's spokesperson in a statement writing, he resorts to lies, name-calling, and confused rants. The more Americans hear Trump speak, the clearer the choice is this November. Her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, campaigning in Nebraska, where he was born and raised.
I graduated from a town of 400 named Butte. I wouldn't trade growing up in that town for anything in the world. Spent my summers working on the farms.
Now, President Biden and the First Lady will kick off the Democratic Convention on Monday. They will formally turn over the week's events and the party to Vice President Harris. Now, the president's team argued that the president should actually get credit for his confidence in Harris, his quick endorsement of her, that helped Democrats avoid a really messy convention. Will.
All right, Mary Alice Parks for us in Washington. Thank you. And ABC News will host the first presidential debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. It'll take place on September 10th in Philadelphia's National Constitution Center, beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern. Our own David Muir and Lindsay Davis are the moderators, and it's live on ABC and streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
For Democrats, the road back to the White House requires a pit stop.
Can you wear normal size pants? Fuck no, dude. I love my big ass pants, dude. My parachute pants look sick. Quick Jason clip.
Motherfucker, I don't know, bro. I'm just going with the flow.
As you should be.
Yes, sir.
We got your stream going on.
Hassan? Pippin. No, not Kason. I said Hassan. You look like Hassan. Kinda a little, nah.
Bro, that's crazy. Nah.
Kinda a little, nah. Nice to meet you, though. That motherfucker taking a...
That's crazy.
Stop in Chicago. Beginning Monday, the party holds its convention at the United Center, where they will officially nominate Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to the presidential ticket. Organizers there have been busy preparing for thousands of delegates and politicians, as well as protesters. Ed O'Keefe is in Chicago. Ed, good morning.
Michelle, great to see you. You know, Chicago this coming week will host a political convention for the 26th time, more than any other American city. And while there are concerns about gridlock and protests, Democrats in this state are eager to help Vice President Harris make history.
The stage is set. The security is in place. And Chicago is bracing for the crowds.
So is the city ready?
Yes, we are ready. Mayor Brandon Johnson says he hopes his city can strike a balance.
And so we're going to protect those individuals whose voices are being heard to make sure that they're safe. But we're also going to make sure that we have a vibrant, energetic, exciting convention that's going to launch, again, a history.
This is the only reason why I don't know what will happen with the Palestinian protest, because, like, the mayor is pretty pro-Palestine.
Maker into the White House.
Will you be a part of the protest, or will you just be sucking off obesity like Obama? Nah, dude. If I see the protesters, I'm going to kick them. That's my plan. My plan is, if I see protesters, I'm going to be like, I'm talking, sweetie. Okay? I'm gonna talk to the protesters and be like, sweetie, I guess it seems like you want Trump to win. Yeah. I guess it seems like you want Trump to win, sweetie pie. Chat, is he for real? Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Chatters are so broken. I will never. This is why I have so many fucking haters, dude. Like, in a lot of instances, obviously it's like hard to pick up on my sarcasm, but like, dude, I get it. Like, I know it's hard to pick up on sarcasm, but like, how, like, there are certain things that I have done leading up to this very moment. Like, I didn't just appear on your screen devoid of context. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't just appear in front of you devoid of complete context. Like, you have to at least know a little bit about my background.
Vice President Harris is set to arrive in Chicago Sunday night after a campaign bus tour across western
did
Pennsylvania.
fall out of a coconut tree.
She
It's
spent the last several
obvious.
days writing her speech. She'd already been writing one to accept her renomination as VP. Now she'll headline a convention originally intended to focus on President Biden.
Joe Biden is really one of the great presidents.
He's so handsome. He's such a handsome lad, dude. I love him. Big boy.
Illinois Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker agrees
Come on,
with
JB.
polls showing Harris.
JB, defend the Palestinian protesters, please. Don't hurt my soul like this. I can't. We got big boy solidarity up in this bitch, JB. Don't do it.
Has re-energized their party.
Kamala Harris brings a different angle on the Democratic Party and makes sure that we bring the excitement and joy to the party that I think people weren't really feeling because they felt like we had two older guys who were running against each other.
It's all set to begin Monday night with a tribute to Biden and a speech by former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. On Tuesday, former President Barack Obama is the headliner. Wednesday, it's former President Bill Clinton and vice presidential nominee Tim Walz. Thursday is Harris's big night.
Harris has been working on that speech for weeks, expected to be working on it right up until she delivers it. It is, of course, the biggest moment of her political life. As for the Republicans, they are not taking a rest while Democrats meet here in
A preview of the my favorite CBS Sunday Morning with that fucking classic like 80s filter. Goddamn. Can we skip day one? Wait, why? Can they skip day one? Are you opening for Biden or Obama? I didn't see you on the schedule. I'm opening every day and I'm closing every day. They wanted me to speak every day. They were like, hey, Hassan, you are the #1 defender of the Democratic Party. You obviously very clearly have our interests in mind over anything else. You have no ideological convictions that may put you at odds at times, maybe all the time, with the Democratic Party's agenda. And therefore, we want you to always be at the forefront. Yeah.
This week at the...
Why not at Streamer Games? Because I was at a bachelor party, 47-month subscriber. I was at a bachelor party yesterday. And today I'm flying out to Chicago
Democratic
to speak at the Democratic National
Convention. Vice President Kamala Harris will formally accept her party's nomination for president. The fact that her historic candidacy will be officially launched in Chicago has a special significance, as Robert Costa reports.
Chicago. Perhaps no city has been more connected with the Democratic Party. And this week, Chicago will host its 12th Democratic Convention, nominating Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, to talk about the new ticket and this old school.
Just letting you know, you would have destroyed the competition at the Streamer Games. Really? I feel like there's some athletic people there.
City.
Well, I'm Irish, so corned beef sandwich.
We naturally had lunch with a Daly.
What kind of case do you think she needs to make to win this November? What does she actually need to do?
I think she has to lay out a vision. She has to show who she is as a person and kind of what she believes. Not so much the litany of specific positions on issues, but sort of a sense of who she is and what does she believe in.
Bill Daley, who has spent his life in Democratic politics, met us at Manny's Deli, a spot beloved by Chicago's workers and its politicians. The memory of Daley's father, the late Mayor Richard J. Daley, still looms large in Chicago. In 1968, at the height of the Vietnam War, the city hosted the Democratic Convention. That year, like this year, the incumbent exited the race.
I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
This is a generous...
Remember when they tried to rush the ballot to force Biden to be the nominee? Yeah, I do remember. Remember when I was, once again, completely right about that, alongside many of the other things that I'm still advocating for? Okay.
And that year, like this year, violence marred the campaign.
On to Chicago and let's win there.
At the turbulent convention that August, Bill Daley was at his father's side.
What was it like, though, to be inside the cauldron when it's boiling over?
It was crazy.
Outside the convention hall, there were bloody confrontations between police and anti-war protesters.
Yeah, except back then, cops, this is their riot gear, bro. This was how the normal kitted out cops looked like when they were in riot gear, with batons and a helmet at most. Now, the average beat cop has more than this, okay? Especially when you, especially when you factor in the riot gear. Holy fucking shit.
Putting Mayor Daley in the spotlight.
You ever have any regrets years later about how that all played out in '68?
If he did, he didn't express them. Look at it, he didn't like it. He didn't like what happened. He didn't like the rap to Chicago. But you know what? He didn't look back.
This week, there are planned protests of the Biden-Harris administration's handling of Israel's war with Hamas.
This city seems to have been bracing for protests. What do you expect on the streets?
There'll be protests. There'll be a lot of protesters. I don't think they'll be out of hand. It's not the 60s.
The convention's key speaker on Monday night is President Biden.
How are Democrats going to handle that? Showing some respect for him, but also recognizing it's still the Harris Convention.
I think there's going to be enormous emotional reaction to the president's being there. I think that place will be rocking.
Harris will accept the nomination on Thursday, setting the stage for a showdown with former President Donald Trump.
All of a sudden, the cards have all been reshuffled, where he's the older guy and she's the young new generation. And that's a pretty powerful message, too, just that alone.
Many Democrats hope this crossroads will have echoes of another Chicago gathering, when in 2008 Barack Obama became the first Black American to win the White House, where Bill Daley later served as his chief of staff.
It's been a long time coming, but tonight, because of what we did on this day, in this election, at this defining moment, change has come to America.
He was totally different from anybody who had ever run for president. Everything about his candidacy was change. He just exuded change, difference.
We love our country.
For Harris, there might be a balancing act. She is at once new to many Americans, but already in power.
But she is an incumbent vice president.
Yeah, I know, but all due respect to vice presidents, they're really not known by the American people. The job itself kind of dictates you play second fiddle.
Vice President Harris casting herself, it seems like the change candidate. Is that how you see it?
Absolutely. It's just like Barack Obama did.
Look at that artist, Shepard Fairey, who did the Obama Hope painting years ago. He just came out with a new one with Harris forward. Among Democrats, this excitement that
absolutely. The thought of the first woman.
I mean, even the fact that they're still going with fucking with Shepard Fairey with the same format, like that's not a good. That is, oh my lord, who knows?
Being president is awfully exciting. I have 3 granddaughters. They're incredibly excited.
That excitement, Bill Daley cautions, will soon be tested by the reality of a brutal campaign.
The Electoral College is very difficult for a Democrat. You almost have to.
Welcome back to the Big Weekend Show.
Upwards of 100K anti-Israel agitators expected to swarm Chicago during the DNC. Fox News is like, on the one hand, excited at the prospect of chaos unfolding at the DNC, but also have to be unconditionally loyal to the Israeli state. So they're in this like unique predicament where on the one hand, they're like, oh, it's sick that like there's a lot of chaos going on, but also simultaneously they're like, oh man, anti-Israel agitators. I mean, at least they didn't say pro-Hamas terror lovers or whatever, that are like the type of shit that you're going to hear from mainstream media. Oh God, I really hope that they don't fucking go this crazy on the type of shit that you are going to hear from definitely Fox News and most likely MSNBC and NBC and others as well, about like how Iran is paying these fucking Hamas loving, Jew hating jihadists. They are going to be straight up Bill Maher on the main. Okay, they're going to be operating with Bill Maher attitudes. Here is Trump, by the way, this past weekend. This is what he said.
We will deport the foreign jihad sympathizers, and we will deport them very quickly, and Hamas supporters will be gone. If you hate America, if you want to eliminate Israel, then we don't want you in our country. We really don't want you in our country.
Like, what do you mean if you hate Israel, we don't want you in our country? Like, what does that mean? Also, deport where? What are they going to deport you to fucking Gaza or something? Like, what do you mean? I am Hitler and I will deport U.S. citizens. Trump. Yeah, it's just insane. Fox News going to post a clip of you walking downtown Chicago and say Hassan was showing up to the DNC early to organize the protest. If Trump offered you back shots, would you do it? Like I get to give him, like I get to fuck him in the butt. Maybe. Possible suicide bomber sent by Hezbollah that prematurely detonated its explosives tonight in Tel Aviv may have been part of Hezbollah's response that went wrong. They have done this before. Dem staffers already trying to make her messaging worse. What is going to unfold in front of our eyes over the course of this upcoming week will be very telling for what remains of the election cycle. We got like 70, 79, 78 days remaining. You will have a DNC filled to the brim with Democratic Party officials, loyalists, talking about how great things are and how great things are going to be. And there is going to be thousands, hundreds of thousands of pro-Palestinian protesters demonstrating, and they might get their ass beat by a brutal police force. This will only continue to grow if the Democrats do not figure out a way to restrain Israel. Okay? If the Democrats do not figure out a way to restrain Israel and instead hit the Hillary Clinton lines and turn around and consistently talk about how anti-Semitic the Democratic Party's like protesters are, or whatever, the anti-Israel protesters are anti-Semitic, blah, blah, blah, they will get cooked. No way there will be that many. We'll see. I saw on Twitter a few strategist leaks, them pushing a few talking points for pointing out how no way there will be that many. We'll see. I saw on Twitter a few strategist leaks, them pushing a few talking points for pointing out how cruel mass deportations are, saying secret police door-to-door internment camps. All I could think was, oh, they just watch Hassan? Good. But if they watch me, they should also know that this is going to be a major problem. I've been literally fucking nonstop talking about this, okay? I've been talking about this non-fucking stop. It's not going to go away. They think, oh man, it's going to go away. It's going to go away. It's going to go away. We're going to be like super brutal. We're going to nip this shit in the butt. It's not going to go away. The more hostile the resistance to anti-genocide protests are, the more resilient the anti-genocide protesters will become. Okay? You do not want that. You do not want that to be the driving point of contention. I'm shocked they haven't hit on it yet. Like, why save it? Maybe bigger impact after Labor Day. I don't know. Same with Israel stuff. Why wait? How fucking insane is it that the Zionist platform is literally just, if you don't support this foreign country of which you have no connection to wholeheartedly, you will be fucking deported? Yeah. Are you a secret DNC operative? If I was, okay, if I was a secret DNC operative, you would hear very different lines of communication and very different moves going forward in terms of America's foreign policy. Okay? If I was working for the fucking DNC, I would literally be every day getting candidates to be like, why the fuck are we giving unlimited genocide dollars to Israel? Why don't we just use that on our own fucking citizens? Why don't we use that to build roads? Why don't we use that to harden our infrastructure against climate change that is already gutting through all of these fucking red states that refuse to reckon with it? Okay? That refuse to recognize it completely. Why the fuck are we spending so much goddamn money on our military? Those guys don't want to fucking be there either. These are like young men and women. You already say that shit. I say that shit. I'm saying the Democrats would start saying that shit.
I will ban refugee settlements.
Use weapons on our citizens instead. Got it. Yeah. Omera brain. I said, why do we give all of our dollars to unlimited genocide instead of our own citizens, using it on our own citizens? American brain goes, oh, you mean there's only one speed. We just have guns and nothing else.
From terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip, and we will arrest the pro-Hamas thugs who vandalize federal property and make really life very, very difficult in this country for a lot of people. When I'm president.
Anyway, that was one aspect of this that we didn't really. There's also this situation, which is like kind of lame overall. Like, this isn't even that good. I feel like he used to post better. Are you still going to be working with Ryan Graham? Very excited for that. He's so uniquely positioned to give an advice on holding power to account. Yes. Thought for a sec that he really paused for a long time after when I'm president before I realized you paused it. Yeah. Yeah. Democratic Party's platform is like literally fucking pure communism all the way, all the time, nonstop. Ceaseless communism. Communism will not halt. Okay, communism only going forward. You already know, baby. Also, here's another fucking insane tweet from the Psycho. If you're a woman, you can either vote for Trump or wait until one of these monsters goes after you or your daughter. Euro posting, Eurofascism, alive and well in the United States of America. Crazy shit for the president to be retruthing. Welcome back, Adolf Hitler. There you go. I know Euro racism when I see it, and that's an average fascist talking point in Spain. No, I know. All right, let's see. Let's see
This chaotic scene of anti-Israel.
Honestly, that's such a bad take, bro. No, the bad take is literally the two-parter debates that you try to do at the top of the hour, which will cause you to get a one-day ban. Okay? At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. We have already punished double-parter baiters, okay? And you are currently engaging. Halt! Cease your activities right now. Cease your activities right now. Oh, no, I meant Trump's take. Oh, shit. You were literally about to get fucking banned. I'm going to give you a second off anyway. I still fired him. Okay, I still fired a 1-second ban. 1 second. Coming at me like that. He was innocent. That's why he got 1 second only. That's a near miss. He almost got a day off, dude. Stop. You violated the law. At the top of the hour, there's still a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or $6, sorry, or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You can get gifted a sub if you're lucky as well. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
Protests in New York City this week is nothing compared to what is expected in Chicago for the Democrat National Convention, when upwards of 100,000 agitators.
Qatari Cat, thank you for the 100 gifted subs, dude. Cutter is crazy, dude. We got the Qatari Dancer, we got Qatari Cat, we got the emissaries in the building. My Oilers are direct Oilers.
Are set to descend on the Windy City. Fox News correspondent Mike Tobin is live in Chicago tonight. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Griff. With memories of 1968, Chicago is now holding its collective breath, hoping to
Spittin' Nichols, thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
get through this convention peacefully. The pro-Palestinian coalition to march on the DNC is expected to be the largest group that will show up protesting at the convention. Members of that group don't like President Biden. They call him Genocide Joe. They don't like Vice President Harris. They call her Killer Kamala. The group opposes U.S. funding of the Israeli Defense Forces. They got some wins in recent days. They won the right to march within sight and sound of the convention. And just yesterday, under pressure from the protest group, the city agreed they could set up a stage and loudspeakers at Union Park, where their march will begin and end. In nervous anticipation, businesses in the West Loop or near the convention center have been boarding up. One business owner tells us he was looted during the George Floyd riots, then looted again. And he says the city is not communicating with him enough to make him feel confident, so the boards went up out of an abundance of caution.
Our customers and our customers' employers have told them to stay home for the entire week. So we felt, since they were concerned about the safety of their people, we should be concerned about our safety.
Police officers are being pulled into service from all over the state of Illinois, even Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Each of the officers has to undergo 12 hours of crowd control training. The head of the police union here in Chicago tells me that this convention is going to draw manpower away from other parts of the city. The criminals are going to know that, and they're going to exploit it. Griff, back to you.
So here's a question many are wondering about. Will Harris's wild policy flip-flops
already being sent selfies from friends with AOC? Chicago's on fire, baby. Yeah, people have already started storming the streets of Chicago. A lot of Democrats are already there. Uncle Jank is there. I'll be there later today. You already know, baby. All right. Will you be doing content with PFT Commenter while in Chicago? Is he going to be in Chi-Town? Is he going to be in Chi-City? I will do content with anybody and everybody, okay? But probably I will end up doing content with nobody, because I will be doing content for you. I only serve one master, and that is my community.
To be acknowledged at the DNC convention next week. First, there's her stance on fracking. She made this promise when she ran for president in 2019.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
But now, according to her campaign, she doesn't support a total ban on fracking. Then there's Kamala's vow to let illegal immigrants run free 5 years ago.
I want to know, when you become president, would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one. On day one.
Fast forward to 2024, her campaign says she promises to, quote, go tough on border security. And what about her push for single-payer health care? This was in 2019.
Who here would abolish their private health insurance in favor of a government-run plan? All right.
But this week, a Harris staffer told CBS News that she would not push a single-payer system. And there's her gun buyback backtrack. 5 years ago, she said she wanted the government to confiscate guns.
We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
But it's a different.
I hate a lot of this stuff because it's like, it's all the cool shit that she like obviously didn't have any loyalty towards, but like just simply was running on, that she now simply does not run on, which I think she should. Like, can you imagine? Oh God, the main point of contention being that like Kamala Harris wants to give everyone health care. Can you imagine that would be like the major talking point from the Republicans being like Kamala Harris wants to give everyone health care? Oh, that's so sick.
Story now, her campaign told the New York Times she supports Biden's.
Hey, I've been trying to send you a video of Duke responding to you about a 1v1, but it said a link can't get me banned. You can't send me a link because you're not subscribed. Only subscribers are allowed to send links. But here, I see your link right now. What is this?
Seriously. Duke jokes all the time, Hassan? No, I meant like, I'm sure Duke plays around. I meant like, he doesn't fuck around with like playing basketball and just like winning. Like, that's what I meant.
It's actually the opposite. I actually just don't take basketball serious at all. So like, playing 1v1s is dead ass, boring as fuck. That's why I don't play one-on-ones. Like, I could.
His entire audience saying Cap or Hassan Cringe, we good, El Hassan.
Play everybody in the YouTube
Hassan is such a loser. I don't fuck with Hassan at all.
world.
Everyone want to talk about AMP for clout. Yeah, that's true. When I'm done talking about, you know, Gaza or the Democratic Party or Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, I'm like, let me secure a little bit of clout off of, clout off of talking about AMP.
One-on-one by now.
Chat mad because AMP and REC fuck with you?
Compared to like 5v5s and shit, they're like.
But you don't like losing. I was right though. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't like losing, which is fine. I don't either.
It's not boring. It's cap. 1v1s is boring as fuck. Basketball, hot take. If you not a hooper, basketball get boring after like 2 or 3 games. If you not a real hooper, basketball get boring after 2.5 games. You might want to start. Somebody after 2.5 games, somebody need to start arguing.
He's right when he says like one-on-ones are not. I mean, if he's saying one-on-ones are not indicative of like real basketball prowess or like how valuable you can be in a real game of basketball, he's absolutely correct. 100%. He's literally completely correct. One-on-ones don't show anything other than whether or not you are good at a one-on-one game. It's a team game. Someone who is going to be much smaller than me, like someone who I could maybe get lucky and beat in a 1v1 because of my size difference, will be an infinitely better player, an infinitely more productive player, an infinitely more valuable player in a 5-on-5 game. Most guards, for example, like if I get lucky, if Hassan's so fat, he eating everything on that table. That's a funny line. It's a team game, and overall, like if I played like a guard, right? Obviously, we're not talking about like D1 players, or we're not talking about fucking NBA players, because then they clear everybody. Obviously, that's not even a question, because they're like literally better at your best position. But if we're talking about like 2 amateurs playing, okay, and I play against a guard, if they're not actually great at shooting, I can put distance between us, and then I can guard down the paint. Like I can lock down the paint, and as long as they can't fucking shoot decently, consistently, I can win that game and back them down every time. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean I'm a better player than them at all. However, Duke Dennis is. I mean, we have a decent comp. I think he's a pretty big dude, and he's also really fucking good. He's a much better player than me overall, and he's much more valuable in a 5-on-5 game overall. I would still want to do it regardless, but you know,
somebody need to start arguing ASAP. Somebody need to start damn near fighting, and somebody need to start calling bullshit calls, or else I'm done. I'm done. Somebody need to start arguing.
It's not glazing. What are you talking about? I want to slap the shit out of Hassan. What the fuck? Why is there so much unnecessary animosity at Duke Dennis's chat?
Bro, y'all need to start fouling this shit, bro. Let's.
Do you think you could be the worst player in the NBA in one-on-one? No, fuck no. The worst player in the NBA is still infinitely better than anything you've ever comprehended. NBA, like people that can't make it to the NBA that play in the fucking G League, okay? People that are not even in the first 15, like people that are on the training squad are still insanely good, like so much better than anyone you've ever played against. We are talking about the NBA, man. We're talking about an entire league of the greatest athletes, the greatest basketball players on the fucking planet at this very moment. Okay? Like it's not even a question. Like that is so silly. That's why I always say, bro, like the average D1 player, NCAA D1 player, a fucking walk-on to an average D1 team will cook like 98% of players that haven't gotten to that point in organized basketball careers. Okay?
Let's hype this up. Let's boost this energy up a little bit. But that's just me though, because I lose interest in.
You can tell some chatters have played sports before. Yeah, it's just like it is not even a question. D1 has some shitters, bro. I used to play with those guys. Nah. What about Bronny? Great example. Bronny would fucking eviscerate every single chatter. Like people talk shit, and by that I mean like Bronny in comparison to like other players of his same caliber, obviously might have a hard time being competitive. He's early on, obviously, in his career, but like he would destroy most people, okay? Most amateur players, like every single amateur player, as a matter of fact. It's crazy. It goes back to the Brian Scalabrine White Mamba. It goes back to the White Mamba take, where Brian Scalabrine said, I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me. And he is right, okay? The skill gap between Brian Scalabrine and LeBron is smaller than the skill gap between the average person and Brian Scalabrine. Is true. I don't think people understand, like, this isn't glaze. I just simply don't think people have the capacity to understand, like, how massive of a fucking difference there is.
Shit, super fast. So, like, let's spice it up a little bit. One of y'all start fouling. Let's start talking shit a little bit. Let's start talking shit. You know what I'm saying? Let's start talking shit a little bit. Nigga, you ass. Nigga, you fucking trash as fuck, nigga. You fucking ass, nigga. Like, you fucking suck. Let's start doing something, because I'm finna lose.
Basketball isn't just about throwing a ball in a hoop. There's fundamentals, footwork, etc. Every player in chat will get rolled. Yeah. Like, yeah, pro athletes are just so insane. Like, they're so fucking good. What is the highest level of player you think you could keep up with? Like, I mean, I've played with, like, keep up with is it doesn't mean I'm gonna win. But like I've guarded players that have played in like European leagues. I've guarded players that are D1 players, but like they still cook me. You know what I mean? It's not like I can somewhat keep up with some NCAA players, like former NCAA players, not current. But no matter what, they will still destroy me. Maybe like high school players potentially. Even then, I played with some fucking high school players as well, and they also like I played with some D1 prospects that are currently in high school, and they are insane. Okay, it is like I don't even know how to explain it. Like these guys are, first of all, their shot form is already like perfect. The professor is not a pro, not NBA, and he cooks motherfuckers all the time. Lol, bro, you are literally talking about one guy who is a incredibly famous and one, like he is basically, you're describing a dude who is basically not a professional basketball player, but like he is like it's not a comparison, dude. The professor is like he's basically a fucking pro. The point is this, okay? The point is this, and you have to understand this. The point is this. I'm 6'4", 230 pounds, okay? I play like a center when I'm playing. Like when push comes to shove, I play a center position in most average pickup basketball games. I'm bigger than most people that I'm playing against in the real world, okay? I do not even have, I would be, you know, like a number 2 or a number 3 in a normal, like my size. I'd have to be much slimmer. I would have to be like a shooting guard in the fucking NBA. And I cannot shoot like that. And I cannot dribble like that. It's not even a thing. You know what I mean? Like 6'4". Steph Curry is like 6'3". Do you understand? And he is an alien. Like he is not from this fucking planet. These people are so insanely fast. They are my height and they have unimaginable ball handling. Like, yeah. According to the French, he's El Diablo. This dude was a 3rd string guard for the Nuggets when they won the championship. Oh, yeah, this is great. Great. Exactly. This kind of shit is like super great. This is a great example. I watch these videos all the time where they'll be like, here's why you will never make it to the NBA. It's just not even a thing, dude. It's like, it's not comprehensible from the perspective of the average person. Like, these guys' weakest skill set in their toolbox is still massively better than like when you are an NBA prospect or when you're like 3rd string on the NBA. Think about Blackboy Max, right? Who already has like a very big weakness in terms of his size. Okay? Like that dude, this dude is taller than me, bro. This dude is taller than me and he is better at ball handling than Blackboy Max, who is like, what, 5'5"? Think about that, bro. Think about that. This dude is like 6'6", and he's faster than one of the better ball handlers that you probably will ever encounter when you're playing regular pickup basketball. Every move is perfected. They're stronger. They're faster. They have significantly better fucking ball handling. Oh yeah, I've seen this one. You will never make it to the NBA. Like, look how perfect that shot is. He's 6'10", 240 pounds. And he's fighting for rotational minutes. Can you become this with training or are you cooked? I'm 33, man. Are you kidding me? This is why it's important for you guys to acknowledge like the massive fucking skill gap. Like the unimaginable skill gap. Like gaming wise, I'm not like the most knowledgeable on gaming, but like it'd be like tens playing against fucking kindergartners, okay? Like you can if you drop everything? Yeah, if I drop everything and invent a time machine and go back in time, knowing full well that one day I'll be 6'4" and train to be like a point guard and, you know, have a diet that allows me to be skinny my entire childhood, go to fucking 5-star camps and consistently train basketball, make basketball my entire life, maybe. Yeah, I'd have to go back 25 years into the past with a time machine and get my fucking diet down. Like, this is not... The NBA is becoming a nepo sport. Yeah, but it's not nepotism in the way that you understand it. It's nepotism in the way that, like, people who are, like, descendants of, like, genetically gifted freaks end up, who are also very wealthy, end up getting that insane amount of training from the jump, like training in nutrition, and that's how they end up getting to that position. They have a leg up automatically. But professional sports is still an area where there's some semblance of meritocracy. Like, I mean, look at this guy. There you go. You think a guy that isn't better than that is getting like a leg up in the league? I mean, Bronny is the only person that you can point to, but even then, he's so low on the totem pole that it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Like, in that circumstance, he's so low on the draft pick that it's enough. Like, it's fine for them to make like a marketing play in that regard. Or Giannis's brother, sure, but like, come on. Oh my God, I wish I would give up my left nut to be able to play like that. It doesn't even matter. I would obviously never be able to make anything with it. Just to be able to do it enough, it would be fine. Just like having that skill set would be enough. All right, let's skip this.
Tonight, Chicago's guard is already up.
Calling him Giannis proves you're a fake fan. Yeah, Giannis, my bad, bro. Listen, he's Greek, okay? The Turkish jumps out sometimes. I apologize. It's just like he should have come to Turkey instead. Okay?
Fencing lining the streets, roads closed off to vehicles. A large protective zone built around the United Center, where Vice President Harris is set to accept the Democratic lining the streets, roads closed off to vehicles. A large protective zone built around the United Center, where Vice President Harris is set to accept the Democratic nomination for president.
And just like at the Republican convention in Milwaukee, Secret Service responsible for everything inside that hardened perimeter. Local police taking the lead for nearly everything else. Is the Chicago Police Department ready for the DNC?
I've said it for a while. The Chicago Police Department is ready.
Chicago's top cop says there are no specific incredible threats, but to expect a heavy police presence throughout the city.
It's a huge project, but the Chicago Police Department and the city as a whole is used to working towards something this large.
Looming over the convention is the promise of large-scale protests just blocks from the United Center.
This is one of the streets we'll be on, yes.
Despite months of legal battles over the protest area, the largest demonstration is expected to draw more than 20,000 people. Hatem Aboudeya is one of the lead organizers preparing to voice his opposition to Israel's war in Gaza.
What's the main message for you guys?
Yeah, the main message is that the Democrats who are going to be in that building are complicit in this war against the Palestinian people.
Police Superintendent Larry Snelling says his officers received special training focused on de-escalation and respecting constitutional rights, but warns violent scenes reminiscent of Chicago's 1968 Democratic Convention will not be tolerated.
Do we want to have fights in the streets with people? Absolutely not. But I want to make one thing clear. I want to make this perfectly clear. We need to know the difference between right.
I want to make one thing very clear. If you say mean things about our greatest ally, the most moral democracy on earth, Israel, I will shoot you in the head with a less than lethal round, but I will still shoot you directly in the head. You will lose an eye at the very least. So you better fucking keep that shit to a minimum. I will beanbag you. I will tear gas you. I will use bear mace. I will advocate to deport you. Do not try me on this. I will tase you.
Rioting and protesting.
A city that says it's prepared for any situation. Shaquille Brewster, NBC News, Chicago.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC.
We will ensure as a police department that people who are protesting and exercising their First Amendment rights get the opportunity to do that. We will protect them and we will protect the neighborhoods.
So this is going to be a difficult balance. It's really going to be a story on the outside, something.
Dude, Giannis was born in Athens. There's a huge struggle to get second-generation immigrants to be considered Greek citizens. Yeah, big dog. My disrespect of his name was literally because I do recognize him as a Greek citizen. Like, I don't think you understood the joke I was making. I'm Turkish. So I'm saying, never mind.
watch, and we'll see what happens with the delegates on the inside, whether or not some of them join the voices that will be on the streets of Chicago. There are huge protests planned for this city. There are hundreds of officers from outside agencies that will join Chicago police in the streets. They got protective gates set up around critical buildings, business owners boarding up storefronts in the area. Gary McCarthy is the former Chicago police superintendent. He left that position in 2015, and 9 years later, he is here to see how his city does. And Gary, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bill.
The protest groups are coming in from all over. It seems that
Giannis Joker or Luka Joker.
they do have a common theme, and that is they're against this war in Gaza as it continues. It's an amazing thing,
What
by
a
the way,
question,
to see
dude.
at a
Get out of
public
here.
convention, a political convention, I should say, here in Chicago, and you have two significant wars.
You can tell this guy is still a cop. look at the way he is, bro. You can't get him out of being a cop, bro. Look at him.
Could go sideways at any moment. How is the city getting ready to allow the permitting for the protesters, but also control them so they don't take things over?
I really like the way you phrased that, because during the NATO summit, a woman asked me if we were going to use tear gas to control the crowd. And I said, only if you can explain to me how tear gas controls a crowd, sends a crowd in all different directions. They've been ramping up for months. The key to this is we know that there's people coming here to disrupt things. We know there's bad actors coming. There's even information that they've been funded from people overseas, like Iran and Hezbollah and Hamas. So the fact is, there are going to be confrontations. The best thing that they could do is get them out of the crowd. You don't wade completely into a crowd with horses and things like that. What you do is you extract the bad actors, get them away, and not let everybody else go the same fashion. So it's not about what you've seen in the past with horses and tear gas and nightsticks. It's about getting those folks, getting them out and moving on with the
I was
protest.
talking to Bill earlier about how there's a lot of comparisons to 1968.
Right.
And to go back and read that history and be reminded of things that I'd forgotten is interesting. But I think that there's such an interesting, different new element, and that is the technology, the ability for people to organize quickly based on a group text message that gets everybody going. How do police departments of modern day deal with that as we look back at this footage from 1968?
We do the same thing. We have the technology. The other thing that we have, not just monitoring social media, open source, we can do it.
I think one of the funniest parts about this is that, like, the cops were in the wrong in 68. And, like, historically speaking, the cops were, as always, on the wrong side of history. And the anti-war protesters were, as always, on the right side of history, which is always so odd because we're not in 1969. We're in 2024. And it's like you're literally pointing to a fuck up where you were on the wrong side of history back then, only to basically reiterate that, like, we're going to do the wrong thing again. Yeah, hindsight is 2020 is funny because yeah, exactly. Hindsight is 0-0 in this situation. Why aren't there more protesters outside of Republican events? I don't know. Maybe because it's not a fucking Republican administration. It is a Democrat administration. Democrats are currently, as it stands, entirely responsible for not doing the things that they could be doing to stop Israel's genocide. Okay? The fuck good is it gonna do to have protests outside the Republican campaigns? Like, what do you mean? I was wondering if it was zero expectations from Republicans. What do you mean? What? Like, these are Democrat voters protesting a Democratic administration, saying that they will not vote for a Democrat.
It's constitutionally protected. But we have camera systems throughout the city that are monitored by the police. So we could.
Also, people do protest Republican shit all the time. It's just that if you're asking, like, why these guys are protesting the Democratic Party, it's because the Democratic Party currently is responsible for the ongoing genocide. That's it.
See where groups are meeting. We could see where protests are going. And that's why one of the things that we did right in 2012 during the NATO summit was we had a ton of cops on bicycles. And the bicycles can get in front of the protests and be used as barriers. So that was successful. The extraction technique that we used was successful. We had a plan. We planned for it for months. We equipped. We made sure that everybody had the equipment. And it's important to realize that we didn't come out in riot gear. when I first got my first briefing on the NATO summit, they were talking about coming out in riot gear. And I said, well, do we want to riot? And they said, no. I said,
you were talking to a person who believes that pro-Palestine protests are a Russian psyop? Yeah. Of course, I'm a Russian psyop and an Iranian one as well. It'd be nice if there was a part of the Republican voting bloc that would be pressuring them to break with Israel. Yeah, there is none, okay? The only Republican voting bloc that would pressure the Republican Party to break with Israel would be the worst Nazis you've ever fucking seen in your entire life. And they're too busy closing their eyes to Trump's unimaginable, unconditional loyalty to the state of Israel to be like, but he's going to deport every Mexican person. So it's fine, I think. He secretly also hates Israel, I promise.
confrontation begets confrontation. Yeah. So we came out in the checkerboard hats, and when it ramped up, we moved up to the next level with helmets. Then when it got a little bit crazier, that's when we came in with the riot gear.
Here's the problem. Axios, one House Democrat telling Axios they are, quote, very concerned about their personal security, and that, of course, other lawmakers are as well. The difference between now and 1968 is you have significant numbers of outside agitators.
Absolutely.
So if you don't think the Republicans and Trump will do any better for Gaza than the Dems, why disrupt the DNC? Dude, are you fucking stupid? Who is the party in charge right now? Like, the current party in charge is responsible for the genocide in Gaza. The current party in charge is the Democratic Party. That's it. I don't think you get it at all. They're putting pressure on the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is still very much responsible for the genocide in Gaza. Why are they responsible for it? Well, they can stop it. They can actively stop it all the time.
Are here to cause problems in their town. Last comment.
Exactly. Well, during the George Floyd riots, I want you to picture this. In Wilmington, Delaware, my buddy Bob Tracy, who was the chief there at the time, was locking up people from Eugene, Oregon. Now, if you're from Eugene, Oregon, you're not going to go to Wilmington, Delaware. They come in teams. One guy breaks glass, one guy agitates.
13-year-old Khalil from Gaza just landed in Chicago to receive medical treatment. He lost both legs to Israeli bombing in April and was welcomed by members of the biggest Palestinian community in the U.S. Tens of thousands of Palestinians call this area home.
والحمد لله مبسوط ان شاء الله هو متامل كثير انه يركب رجله انه يرجع يمشي زي اول.
The city of Chicago is also about to host the Democratic National Convention. As the U.S. continues to arm Israel for its assault on Gaza, many from this community feel betrayed by the party they've historically supported.
The entire world is watching. They're going to see the biggest protest for Palestinian rights ever in the history of Chicago.
As the death toll in Gaza rises to over 40,000 killed, we talk to organizers and community members in Chicago's Little Palestine about their message to the Democratic Party and how they might vote this November. We met up with Palestinian American organizer Nida Sahouri. In the community, she's known as Khalto Nida, or Aunt Nida, and she's seen at all the protests.
What's the alternative? The alternative.
But Kamala already supports a ceasefire. So does Joe Biden. He does. What's different? Joe Biden has said he wants a ceasefire. He fucking proposed it. He's the one who proposed the ceasefire. Okay? Where is it? Israel killed 24 people last night during the supposed ceasefire talks happening right now. Do they think Trump will stop the genocide? No, of course they don't think Trump will stop the genocide. There is an election coming up, and they're trying to use that to apply pressure to the party that is in charge. Okay? That's it.
It was just to sit home and just do nothing and just criticize. I believe that if you want to change something, you have to change it with your hands.
People's binary understanding of politics is actually insane. No, this is a binary situation. This is a binary. They just refuse to recognize it. It is deflective. It is deflective, like moral posturing, kind of. What I mean by this is it's no different than when people who want to defend Israel, but like know better than to openly defend Israel, say things like, oh, it's complicated. Like it's not, but they say it anyway, right? They'll be like, oh, it's fucking complicated. It's like, dude, it's not complicated at all. There's just a genocide going on. And in this situation, it is binary. It's the Democrats say that they want a ceasefire, but are not actively committed to getting a ceasefire. The only way that they can do that, the only way that they can secure a ceasefire is if they actually pressure Israel, okay? And the only way to pressure Israel is by putting weapons transfers on the fucking table for negotiations, which is impossible to contend with. Like, people don't even want to, nobody talks about that. Like, it's a non-starter. It's a fucking non-starter for so many Democrats. That means they are not interested in pushing for a ceasefire at all. They're just simply using it as a talking point. That's it.
In May, she ripped up a permit application to protest at the DNC after city police raided an encampment at DePaul University.
We're gonna be protesting no matter what. Thank you.
Nidat says that in the 40 years she's lived in Chicago, she's witnessed the Palestinian community grow significantly.
You just feel like you're in Palestine. That's why it's called Little Palestine. You feel like you're in the West Bank. When my mom came and visited me the first time, she's like, oh, it feels like you're in Ramallah. So you see the culture, you see the stores with Arabic names.
We met with her at her house, which was filled with artifacts from her homeland.
Tatris is very important for Palestinians because every city had its own colors and its own embroidery. So traditionally it was for dresses, for women. And now they're just making a lot of different things with it. Now Israel is trying to steal the embroidery. If you go there, they claim it. They're claiming our embroidery now. And that's why we want to try to make sure that we keep it for us.
Nidat is the...
What? Please explain how the Democrats can stop the genocide right now. It's this, okay? It's this. This is a telephone, okay? You pick up the telephone and you call up Benjamin Netanyahu and you say, hey, cut it out. No more weapons. Click. Mush mush. And if they still try to fucking act out, okay? Second phone call. Hey, I noticed that you're still acting out. Sanctions. Click. It won't get to that point anyway, though, because it doesn't matter. Didn't Hamas reject the ceasefire like an hour ago? It's breaking news. Why not cover it? Wait, what? I did cover it. I covered it as it directly happened. I covered it for like an hour plus. Why are Democratic Party loyalists that come back into this community after months and months of not being a part of the community come in and immediately chirp me when the answer is it's your fucking fault? Okay? How is this a long-term sub? Let me tell you how. Notice how they fucking stopped talking after a certain period of time? They weren't like a massive supporter anyway. They weren't like big time chirpers. But notice how there's no fucking activity in the chat until recently. They're the October 7 leavers. Oh. Anyway, I did talk about that. Saying that, oh, it's just Hamas simply refused to bargain with Israel is fucking stupid. If you're completely oblivious to the reality of the ceasefire negotiations, you will obviously be led astray. If you only look at MSNBC and how they're covering it, why did you ban them? No, Fossabot banned them for spamming. I unbanned them. You're wrong. I did not ban them. I literally unbanned them so they can speak. They got automatically Fossabot banned because they were spamming in the chat. They got timed out. Okay? Overall, there is a ceasefire and permanent cessation of hostilities deal that was proposed by Joe Biden. Joe Biden even went as far as to say that this was Israel's own proposal. As a matter of fact, this was the identical proposal. You just made me sign in. Are you aware people watch you offline? Yes, I am. Hamas had brought forward an identical three-phase proposal in February. Biden unveiled it as the Israeli proposal in March. Hamas said yes to it. Israel invaded Rafah, said fuck that proposal. There's actually parts of that proposal we don't agree with. Then Biden kept repeating the lie over and over again that it was actually Hamas holding up the proposal, when in fact it was always Israel that was holding up the proposal. And they openly fucking held up the proposal to a degree where they ended up killing the fucking principal negotiator on the Palestinian side. My brother in Christ, why do people just want to have reasons to despise you? I don't know. Entertainment, I think a lot of people are just like bored, sad, angry. They want like a accessible person that they can fucking yell at. I get it. Anyway, but yeah, does that make sense? Do you understand? 18-month subscriber. It is not Hamas that is holding up the peace talks. It is America cynically holding up a peace talk to stop Iran from retaliating, as is their internationally recognized right to do so after Israel violated their sovereignty. Now, having said that, the current peace talks, the current ceasefire negotiations talks that are ongoing are actually not even supposed to be happening at all, because only one side has said no. Hamas has actually said yes to the last ceasefire conversation that took place. Israel said no over and over and over again, and then fucking turned around and actually killed the principal negotiator. Does that strike you as the type of person who wants to actually deal with a ceasefire? Or is that, in your mind, something you do when you want to continue the war? Because once the war ends, you're probably going to go to jail. So you selfishly want to continue this genocide and keep up this offensive military posture as much as you possibly can. Okay? And America is like your willing ally that is going to do your bidding, which is exactly what's going on.
The Chicago Chair for American Muslims for Palestine, an organization that teaches people about Israel's occupation of the Palestinian territories. She says that while her focus is on a ceasefire in Gaza, the situation is also dire in the West Bank, where her family is from.
Settlers in the West Bank are attacking day in and day out. I just came back. It's bad. Like, it's not safe. Settlers and soldiers can attack any village they want.
Palestinian and Arab American voters have historically voted Democrat, but the party has lost support for arming Israel's war on Gaza.
Democrats, whether it's Biden or Harris, Democrats failed us big times. They dehumanized us. We are demanding that we are looked at as humans.
Palestinian migration to Chicago began in the 1890s during a time of broader migration from the Middle East to the US. Most of the early Palestinian immigrants.
My views are generally aligned with yours, but you should still want there to be a ceasefire deal and Hamas needs to accept one. No, your views are not generally aligned with mine on this issue if you don't fucking understand that I've been asking for a ceasefire since October 8. Okay? Israel is the party responsible for not coming to terms with a ceasefire. The current proposal that is in table already has a 3-step negotiate. Listen to my fucking words, okay? Listen to the words that are coming out of my fucking mouth instead of chirping like a bad faith dipshit, okay? Listen. The ceasefire proposal, the 3-step ceasefire proposal with 3 different phases. Phase 1 being a ceasefire, phase 2 ending with a permanent cessation of hostilities, and phase 3 being the reconstruction. That proposal was identical to a proposal that Hamas has suggested time and time again, the last one being in February. That proposal was then pushed by the American government. The American government even said that it was Israel's proposal. Israel, as soon as that proposal came out, and it was on a Saturday, if you remember, okay, immediately started going, oh my God, this is not our proposal at all. What the fuck are you talking about? And for months and months and months said that actually this is not the proposal that we want. We want certain things in the fine print to be different so we can continue killing people in Gaza and continue a permanent occupation in Gaza, specifically in the Netzarim corridor and the Philadelphia corridor. Okay? This is completely against the deal. You cannot have a ceasefire and a permanent cessation of hostilities and a removal of troops from the Gaza Strip while simultaneously saying between phase 1 and phase 2, you're going to give us all the hostages and we can continue fucking blowing up the Gaza Strip, which is what Israel has said over and over again. Okay? Israel refuses to say yes to a ceasefire deal as long as the ceasefire is permanent. They do not want a permanent ceasefire. That is not a ceasefire then. Okay? It makes no sense. Why the fuck would Hamas say yes to that? Why the fuck would anybody say yes to that? The entire world is looking at this as a permanent ceasefire. Israel's the only people that don't want a permanent ceasefire, and America keeps being a loyal dog to the Israeli officials and claiming that it's actually Hamas that's refusing to deal with it. And there are people like yourself who just watch mainstream media and like don't actually read the fucking fine print at all and come in here and just regurgitate what the fuck they've heard from the New York Times or Axios or MSNBC or CNN. And you come in here and you go, well, Hamas needs to accept the deal. Yes, dude, they have. Okay, they have. They have accepted a deal already. They want the deal that they accepted, which America put forward. Anthony Blinken himself has openly recognized that the 3-phase negotiation, the 3-phase ceasefire, was a fucking deal that Hamas presented in February. Anthony Blinken himself recognized this. Okay? The Hamas leadership does not care about the people of Gaza. Man, shut the fuck up, you stupid fucking Hasbara bot, brother. Oh my God. Immediately fucking notice how you are not responding to anything I just said. And as soon as like the reality hits, you just move the talking point down the line. This is why I said, 18-month subscriber was gone, only comes back to fucking chirp now. Who cares about the Palestinian people? Do you think Israel cares about the Palestinian people? Care so much, dude. That's why they've killed 40,000. I care about Palestinians and that they should have freedoms. No, you don't. You don't. If you cared about Palestinians and that they should have freedoms and a place to live safely, you would be advocating to fucking invade Israel right now, okay? With boots on the ground. You'd be like, we need to have an international coalition of soldiers from every fucking Western nation invade Tel Aviv tomorrow so that we can put an end to this fucking apartheid regime. But you don't care about that. You're just saying that as a talking point, thinking that we don't understand exactly what you're trying to do. It is a very idiotic, wishy-washy assessment here. Oh, I want Palestinians to be safe, except Hamas doesn't care about them. That's why Israel keeps pummeling Gaza and killing all the fucking Palestinians. The worst part is when these liberals act like they're acting in the best interest of Palestinians. Yeah, it's just like, you don't care. Answer the fucking question. Do you think Israel is an apartheid state or not? Do you recognize what the international organs of justice recognize? Do you recognize what Israeli human rights groups? No, don't fucking do this wishy-washy Netanyahu has to resign bullshit, okay? Shut the fuck up about Benjamin Netanyahu. This is a classic liberal Zionist position. Answer my question. Do you recognize the Israeli apartheid? Yes, there are aspects of an apartheid. No, not an aspect of an apartheid state. That is, again, wishy-washy bullshit. Is it an apartheid or is it not? It's not aspects of an apartheid. It is an apartheid, okay? And it's not only being kept up by Benjamin Netanyahu, okay? It's not Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition. It's not simply just Benjamin Netanyahu. It is an apartheid that the Israeli government has upheld historically. It is an apartheid that the Israeli citizens have upheld historically, okay? There is no, it's aspects of apartheid. Jews and Palestinians should be able to live side by side peacefully. Again, liberal Zionist position. Jews and Palestinians should be able to live side by side peacefully is, again, liberal Zionist position, okay? There is no difference between Jewish people living there and non-Jewish people living there. There is no distinction between these two groups unless you are operating on the principles set forth by a Jewish ethno-state, okay? It is not leadership on both sides that is trash and continues the cycle of violence. It's like saying Nelson Mandela is trash and the ANC is trash, as is the apartheid government of South Africa. No, of course not. You might have an issue with some of the tactics used by the resistance to the South African apartheid. But ultimately, if you were to say such dumb shit, people would laugh at you, okay? You would literally, people would laugh at you. You'd be like, whoa, what do you mean? The ANC is responsible for the apartheid in South Africa? Like, what the fuck do you mean? There is one party that is single-handedly responsible for the continuation of this bloodshed, and that party is the Israeli government, okay? That's it. Comparing Hamas to the ANC is ridiculous. Why would it be ridiculous? Do you have any real argument to say that Hamas has any consideration for Palestinian life? Yes, I do. They are not fucking born out of a random outside group, dumbass. They are Palestinians. They are the fucking orphan children of Palestine. What the fuck do you mean? Any real argument that they don't have any consideration for the Palestinian life? They're Palestinian. What the fuck are you talking about? They are the only game in town in terms of resistance against the Israeli apartheid. That's it. What do you mean? Comparing Hamas to the ANC is not ridiculous. Ideologically, they might not be committed to like some kind of socialist movement, but ultimately they are resisting a colonial occupation, okay? As was the ANC back then. Like, who do you think is fucking murking all these? Who do you think is murking all these Palestinians? You think it's Hamas? You think like, you legitimately think like Hamas is just like moving up the Palestinians and just like, you know, recreating like bombing conditions or something and like executing them and then being like, oh, Israel did this? Or do you think Israel is actually using American weapons? Every one of which is accountable, by the way. Like, we can account for every single one. Why is comparing Hamas to the ANC ridiculous? You still haven't mentioned it. You still haven't updated me on this. Is it because one is Muslim? One is like fundamentalist? Do you think their like ideological worldview it should be factored into whether their cause is just or not? Because it's not like they're operating on the boundaries of like, you know, hating Jewish people or whatever in the same way that like Israel claims it is, but it's not the case. Shatters in October. Yes, Hamas has conducted terrorism on its own people. It's well documented. Dude, so has the ANC. What the fuck are you talking about? What do you think? What do you think the practice of necklacing is? Again, what do you think the practice of necklacing is? What do you think that was? Collaborators would literally get fucking tires put on their necks and burned on fire. Okay, collaborators with the apartheid government. Does that change the dynamic for you? Do you think black people in South Africa deserve to live under an apartheid occupation because of the actions of the resistance groups against said occupation? Okay, answer my question. Because ultimately, that is all you're stating. Ultimately, what you're saying, of course not. Then, okay, there you go. Then shut the fuck up about Hamas. That's it. Because if Israel wants Hamas to perish, if Israel wants Hamas to have no more political sway, then Israel has all the power to do so. Not by violent military action, not by denying Palestinians all humanity, okay? But by doing the exact opposite. Hamas would cease to exist if there was no apartheid, because Hamas is simply Palestinian resistance by any other name, okay? It used to be the PLO, and I'm sure you'd be chirping about the PLO in a similar capacity if it was happening right now, okay? That's it. That's all this is. Hamas itself was an Islamic charity originally when it was first first put together. Yeah. Why they are counter-revolutionary and are no help to... What? What do you mean counter-revolutionary? What are you talking about? Counter-revolutionary? Brother, you don't know anything about Palestinian resistance groups, so there's no reason to have this conversation with you. You should probably go back to reading a little bit, okay? Hamas has worked side by side with DFLP, Maoist groups in fucking Palestine, PFLP, Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine. Hamas and all of the other Palestinian resistance groups are actually currently unified. There was a literal fucking deal that was put together in China 2 weeks ago, as a matter of fact, that completely unified even the Palestinian Authority, or Fatah at the very least, with Hamas and all other Palestinian resistance groups. This has nothing to do with their ideological positioning. Hamas itself has actually advocated to release Fatah members and members of the DFLP and PFLP. So you're absolutely wrong. October 7 wasn't just conducted by Hamas. It was led by Hamas for sure, but every single member of the Palestinian resistance groups were a part of it. So you're just using counter-revolutionary as a fucking talking point here. It's simply just a word that you threw out there to make it seem like you only care about the revolutionary Marxist principles that a potential group has. Okay? It's just a buzzword for you. There is one unifying principle for every Palestinian resistance group, which is the end of the apartheid, okay? The end of the genocide and the end of the apartheid. That's it. It doesn't matter what other worldview they have. That's the one thing that they care about, because understandably, that's the most significant thing that is killing them right now, which is the Israeli government. Also, I would love to hear what you meant when you said Hamas has conducted terrorism on its own people. Is well documented. Because I feel like you just dropped that in there. But yeah, Americans said the same shit about the Viet Cong. The British said the same shit about the IRA. And the apartheid government said the same shit about the ANC. They said it about the Algerian, of the FLN as well. Notice how every single one of those groups, the terrorists were the good guys. Every single one of those groups. The terrorists that were declared terrorists, that were declared to be in the wrong, were actually ultimately the good guys after all. People that you probably read about now and you turn around and go, man, these guys are so sick. They're so cool. They're so revolutionary. The IRA were not good guys? Okay, bro. Sure. Guarantee they aren't even Irish? Yeah, probably. Yeah, no shit. Anyway.
Were men who would come to work in the US, traveling back and forth between Chicago and Palestine. But when that became more difficult in the 1930s and 40s, they started buying property and opening shops. After the 1948 Nakba, where Zionist militias forced over 750,000 Palestinians from their homes, the families of the men who had come to Chicago made their way to the US too.
When I grew up in the 70s and 80s, the vast majority of the Palestinian community lived in Southwest Chicago proper.
Hatem Abu Daya is an organizer with the U.S. Palestinian Community Network.
But in the last 20 years or so, they've really all moved out to the southwest suburbs.
Hatem says the Palestinian community moved to the suburb of Bridgeview, Illinois, and created Little Palestine.
We were able to buy a lot of property, be able to buy businesses, able to buy homes, establish like a real hub.
Would any of these problems in the Middle East exist if there was no religion? Yeah, no shit, of course it would. Half of the struggles that I just mentioned, every single struggle that I mentioned were not fought on the boundaries of religion, okay? It's never about religion. Religion is just a galvanizing principle on top of it. It's ultimately always about land. It's always about natural resources. That is all this is, okay? It's so silly. Anyway, it's as silly as thinking that there is no 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. War is always about resources, distribution of resources, distribution of power. Religion is simply a tool to galvanize people, to get people to be on board with your cause. That's all it is.
Here.
Now, around 85,000 Palestinians are estimated to live in the Chicago metro area, the largest Palestinian community in the country. Hatem is also a spokesperson for the Coalition to March on the DNC, an affiliation of at least 150 organizations planning to protest Israel's ongoing genocide.
We have 3 main demands. One is end USA to Israel, stop the genocide, and stand with and free Palestine. Those are the broad demands. But the goals are for the world to see that Palestine has enormous support.
Even though Joe Biden is no longer the Democratic candidate, the coalition says it has the same demands for Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris is a part of this administration. She's in the leadership of the administration. These policies are her policies. And we haven't seen anything or heard anything from her to believe that she's going to have a different position.
Hatem says while some may fear a second Trump presidency, his focus is on the DNC because Democrats are the ones in power.
If the Republicans were in party and Trump was already the president and this genocide was going on, then that would have been the event of the season. And the tens of thousands would have been going there. But the reason they're here is because the Democrats are in power, because Biden is the one who's complicit, and Kamala Harris and Blinken, all of the top Democrats in this country are responsible. They are complicit in the genocide, they have blood on their hands, and they're the ones that allow it to happen.
But this isn't the first time anti-war demonstrators have protested a DNC hosted in Chicago. In 1968, an estimated 10,000 people protested the Vietnam War at the convention. Chicago police injured and arrested hundreds. While protesters were being rounded up by the police, the crowds chanted, "The whole world is watching."
This is the event of the season. The entire world is watching. They're going to see the biggest protest for Palestinian rights ever in the history of Chicago.
A week before the 2024 DNC, we found this art and rhythm build where organizers were practicing chants and building drums.
Can you tell us what you're doing here today?
Creating ruckus for the DNC.
So we came together tonight to make instruments, decorate them, and then, get ready to bring the rhythm with our contingent.
Well, the truth is, the Democrats have always sold themselves as, the party of the working class, and they never have represented us. We know Kamala isn't going to represent the working class. She's proven it with her track record. So just because it's a brown face in a high place, it doesn't mean anything to us.
I've seen too many dead children, broken up families to ever think about checking a box near the Democratic Party on the ballot.
Corporate Democrats or corporate Republicans are one and the same. They are both funded by AIPAC lobbies, corporations. They really don't represent the American voice.
We'll continue to march, organize, and raise hell until we get an arms embargo and a permanent ceasefire.
Even those within the Democratic Party have criticized the administration.
The Biden administration absolutely let us down by unconditionally supporting Israel's genocide.
Abdel Nasser Rashid is Illinois' first ever Palestinian American state representative. He grew up in Little Palestine.
What you see in Little Palestine is a really real community cohesion. People know each other. It is a tight-knit. People care about each other. People look out for each other.
Abdel Nasser says he believes most Americans want the U.S. to act differently.
The Biden administration has enacted policies that go against what the average American wants. The average American wants us to use our tax dollars to provide better health care, to provide affordable housing, to tackle climate change, not to send more bombs, more US-made weapons to Israel that then get dropped on civilians throughout Gaza.
Is it annoying having to wait to have your views be vindicated all the time? I'd rather have it be vindicated down the line than not at all. So as much as it is annoying, it still ultimately doesn't matter. I just want people to come to terms with the reality. That's all I care about. I want people to change their perspectives. I want people to advocate for the right things, and they might do it, they might do it later down the line, but it doesn't matter. Ultimately, it's important that they did that.
But he says that the convention and a new candidate might be an opportunity for change.
I think the fact that President Biden withdrew from the race and now Vice President Harris is the Democratic nominee gives us an opening, gives her an opening to truly engage with young people, with people of color, with progressives across the country, not to mention, of course, the Arab and Muslim community who want to see a transformational change, a fundamental break from the policies of our government that have supported genocide.
For the residents of Little Palestine, the first step a Kamala Harris administration must take is straightforward.
To start with, we need to stop funding the genocide. We need to cease fire, and we need to feed the people in Gaza.
But organizers say they're seeing a change in how Israel's occupation of Palestinians is viewed by the world.
People recognize it's not just an issue of stop killing Palestinians.
You don't know how many people come to hate on you and stay by the end of it, I hope.
It's end the occupation and end the colonization and allow Palestinians to return to their homes. And that's the only way that you can bring peace to the entire region.
Anyway, all right, everybody, I got to go. I got to get ready to fly out. I'll be in Chicago. Tomorrow. You already know. Okay. I'm going to be in Chicago and be live from Chicago starting tomorrow at the Democratic National Convention. Okay. I love you all, and I'll see you out there. But that is all for today. Okay. Peace, everybody. Peace and love from the Middle East. I'll be back tomorrow for a regular ass stream. Bye.
Sunny Los Angeles, California, says Hassan. The starlight to the starlight to the topic just begun. There he is again. Hassan is streaming. Hassan is streaming. There he is again. Hassan is streaming. Hassan is streaming. Reviewing the P.O. box. Uncle Uyghur's face. Sat in Discord agitprop. Great names take on breaks. Tiny Bernie Sanders, LGBTQ Air Force. The whole left at your fingertips, Ane at your door. H3 crowded debate, the Young Turks online show. 3 full fucking years of this, plenty more to go. 90-day fiance talks of champagne bourgeoisie. A Trump rally live reaction, a mass riot at DC. There he is again. Hassan is streaming. Hassan is streaming. There he is again.